box, an enchanting aroma wafted through the living room, uplifting everyone's spirits. "What exquisite tea!" he exclaimed. "Bring me a teapot. I shall brew it myself." Though he appeared as a business magnate to the world in front of Han Wangfei, he was merely a child, obediently handing over the teapot. "Old master, just crush the tea leaves and rinse them once before brewing. These leaves are freshly picked," Gu Yechen instructed while standing beside Han Wangfei. Han Chuxiao felt a tinge of nervousness. This was the first time a young man had dared to direct her grandfather's actions. "Is this correct?" Old Master Han looked to Gu Yechen for approval. Gu Yechen nodded affirmatively. In the living room, Han Jin and Han Chuxiao were left speechless, as were the butler and several servants. While Yi Fan was utterly incredulous that Old Master Han would acquiesce so readily. After the initial shock, Han Chuxiao felt a small thrill. Her grandfather had never treated any young person aside from her in such a manner. This indicated Gu Yechen held significant weight in her grandfather's eyes. As boiling water cascaded over the leaves, the aroma intensified, astonishing Old Master Han. He had not anticipated such a powerful fragrance to emerge from a single leaf. Han Jin, equally astonished, pondered how such tea could exist in the world. Old Master Han poured himself a cup and took a sip, instantly revitalized and immensely satisfied. Han Chuxiao served a cup to Han Jin, as well as to herself and Gu Yechen, seating Gu Yechen beside her. Upon tasting the tea, Han Jin's eyes widened in disbelief at the cup in his hand. While Han Chuxiao was equally astonished, this tea was unlike anything they had ever experienced. The fragrance lingered on their lips, evoking a sense of nostalgia. Old Master Han turned to Han Jin, commanding in a tone that brooked no refusal, "Hand me the box you have." Gu Yechen was utterly taken aback, never expecting the seemingly stern elder to be so audacious. Han Jin, initially thinking his father merely wished to inspect the box, was taken aback as 4 out of 5 leaves were swiftly claimed, leaving him feeling utterly dismayed. He shot a fierce glance at Yi Fan, who suddenly found himself at a loss, feeling as if he had committed a grave error merely by standing there. "Dad, could you spare me a bit more? You can't leave only 1 leaf. That's hardly enough to enjoy." Han Jin looked forlornly at Old Master Han, his previously stern demeanor evaporating. "You're just a child. Why not drink other tea instead? Why rob an old man?" Old Master Han retorted, leaving Han Jin speechless. "Dad, surely you can give me just 1 more leaf, right?" Han Jin lamented, tears nearly spilling from his eyes. Had he known, he would have hidden the tea leaves beforehand. After a moment's contemplation, Old Master Han relented and allowed him 1 additional leaf. Han Jin glanced at Han Chuxia, who immediately clutched the 2 remaining tea leaves, her gaze toward Gu Yechen brimming with affection. With a sigh, Han Jin realized his daughter had become a protective shield for her beloved. Initially intent on fostering a connection between her and Yi Fan, he now saw no need. As long as his daughter was content, that was enough. Observing Gu Yechen, he felt as though something precious had been snatched away. Gu Yechen merely smiled in silence, turning his attention back to Old Master Han. "Old Master, I recently acquired a Dan pill that could greatly benefit you. Would you be interested? Sometimes, one must take risks to reap rewards. The connection with the Han family is proving invaluable, providing a sturdy foundation for my endeavors in Shanghai City. Even after I leave for school, I can count on the Han family for support and promising prospects." Old Master Han's eyes brightened at this revelation. He was acutely aware of his own health, and if a Dan pill could assist him, he would not hesitate to try it. Having been forced to abandon his cherished research due to health issues was far from his desires. The urgent need to resolve the chip blockade loomed. Yet he was powerless to act. "Yes, can you give it to me?" Old Master Han inquired eagerly, his excitement palpable. Chapter 61. The Red Phone. "Of course. You are Grandpa Chuxiao. It is only natural," Gu Yechen replied with a smile. However, he shifted his gaze to Yi Fan and added, "Old man, could we ask Mr. Yi Fan and the others to step aside?" Yi Fan internally cursed Gu Yechen 100 times but reluctantly retreated from the living room. "Feel free to express your requests." Han Jin observed Gu Yechen's serious demeanor, knowing there must be a significant matter at hand. He wouldn't just provide medicine to the Han family for free. Gu Yechen straightened up, his expression grave, entirely unlike an 18-year-old boy. "I plan to establish a company in Shanghai City. Before it grows, I hope the Han family can support its development. Of course, this requires no financial investment on your part, just the Han family name." Gu Yechen smiled at Han Jin, who contemplated the proposition. The Han family's reputation could indeed provide Gu Yechen with a sense of security, but it was not without its limitations. Considering the presence of 4 other powerful families, Han Jin nodded and remarked, "When your company is established, I will announce a partnership with you. This way, anyone who wishes to undermine you will have to consider the implications for the Han group." After a pause, he inquired, "What are your thoughts at present?" "Nothing much. In due course, I would like to invite you to the Shui Weixian for my identity unveiling banquet and graduation celebration," Gu Yechen replied with a slight smile. Han Wangfei and Han Jin were momentarily taken aback, while Han Chuxia chuckled and said, "Grandpa, Dad, Shui Weixian International Hotel is actually Yechen's property." "Yechen? Han Jin felt something was amiss. Why were they so familiar as to drop their surnames? Gu Xiaoyu, you truly have opened my eyes. I had no idea that the premier hotel in Shanghai belonged to you. Han Wangfei expressed his excitement, having already recognized Gu Yechen as the sole candidate for Han Chuxia. Han Jin nodded in affirmation, acknowledging the exceptional achievements of this 18-year-old. Gu Yechen produced a small box and placed it before Han Wangfei. Grandpa, this is a pill called the Constitution Pill. Consuming it will rejuvenate your vitality significantly, and based on its effects, it could make you feel 3 years younger. This is a gift from the system. To put it bluntly, it could fetch 10 billion on the market. Han Wangfei trembled as he received the pill. If it could be mass-produced, it would be an invaluable treasure for the nation. He contemplated keeping it to present to the government for research. Gu Yechen observed the old man's reaction with some surprise. Is it really necessary to be this dramatic? Don't you need it? Rest assured, it is not toxic. I would never harm Chuxiao's grandfather. After saying this, he boldly kissed the back of Han Chuxiao's hand, disregarding the thoughts of Han Wangfei and Han Jin. Han Chuxiao lowered her head, blushing, feeling conflicted about their ambiguous relationship, given that Gu Yechen had stated he couldn't provide her with a formal title. Han Jin's expression darkened as he watched their hands intertwine. Initially, Han Wangfei intended to keep the pill for research, but, driven by curiosity, he swallowed it. He distinctly felt changes within his body and was momentarily lost in thought. Both Han Jin and Han Chuxia noticed the old man's transformation and were filled with joy. In a bold move, Han Chuxia pressed her lips against Gu Yechen's cheek in front of her father and grandfather. Although Han Jin was pleased, seeing this scene filled him with rage. His daughter, whom he had cherished since childhood, had never even held hands with anyone, let alone kissed. Now that she had held hands and kissed, was the next step to share a bed? The mere thought of it pained Han Jin. Gu Yechen, observing the old man's transformation, inquired, "How does it feel?" "Wonderful. I feel several years younger." Han Wangfei's exclamation was sincere. He genuinely felt revitalized. He believed he could return to research. "Gu Xiaoyu, I am truly grateful. You may call me Lao Wang. I wonder if you have more of these pills." To be candid, I have a colleague in the research field whose health is deteriorating. If this pill could be mass-produced, it would be a tremendous boon for our country. Han Wangfei expressed earnestly. During the lottery, the system indeed provided Gu Yechen with the formula for the Constitution Pill, but he had misplaced it. Upon hearing this, the old man clutched his chest, gasping for breath. If you have it, why not just bring it out? Do you think I'm unaware?" Gu Yechen was taken aback. The old man was quite astute. He decided to reveal, "Grandpa, you are truly sharp. You understand the value of this. So I must ask you to keep it confidential. Otherwise, I might find myself in grave danger." He made a throat-cutting gesture towards Han Chuxia, causing her face to pale as she quickly glanced at her grandfather. "Rest assured, I am not one to meddle, and neither is Han Jin. As for Han Chuxiao's relationship with you, that is another matter entirely." The old man had keen insight. Since Han Chuxia returned that morning, he had sensed something was amiss. He had also investigated Gu Yechen and was aware that he had several romantic entanglements. In his eyes, Gu Yechen was no ordinary person. He would surely rise to prominence, which allowed him to turn a blind eye to the budding romance between Gu Yechen and his granddaughter. "If you wish to produce these pills, please inform me. I can report to the upper echelons of the government. This is of utmost importance to the nation, and with their backing, it would undoubtedly benefit you as well." Han Wangfei said earnestly, "I understand this matter. I can collaborate with the government to jointly establish a company, with me providing full funding for 67% ownership, while the remaining 33% belongs to the state. However, I must designate an individual as the CEO to oversee all company affairs, and the pricing must remain standard." Gu Yechen stated calmly. Han Wangfei appeared troubled, remarking, 67%? Are you not being overly ambitious?" He walked to an iron box and opened it, revealing a red phone. This was no ordinary phone. It was reserved for confidential matters. Typically, it would not be used, and only significant individuals would possess one. "I am Han Wangfei, connecting to Secretary Wang of the Provincial Committee." The old man spoke with a steady tone, and shortly, the call was connected. "This is Wang Yun." A commanding voice resonated from the other end. "Secretary Wang, this is Han Wangfei." Wang Yun paused momentarily, placing down the documents he held. "What matter necessitates your use of this phone, Han Wangfei?" Wang Yun sensed the gravity of the situation, understanding that the red phone, coupled with Han Wangfei's status, signified something extraordinary. Chapter 62. Your affairs are my affairs. My granddaughter is acquainted with a young man who possesses a formula for a medicinal pill that can enhance physical constitution and cure ailments. I have personally tested it, and the results were exceptionally promising. I now feel capable of returning to research. Old Master Han spoke with gravity, prompting a moment of silence from the other end. "Han, the information you provided is of utmost importance. If he were to submit the formula to the state, what would his demands be?" Wang Yun inquired, a hint of anxiety in his tone, for the formula was exceedingly precious. Old Master Han hesitated. He insists on full funding, claiming a 67 stake, with the remainder to be allocated to the state. Furthermore, he wants the right to appoint the CEO, provided the state guarantees the company's security. Wang Yun sighed. These conditions are likely unfeasible. Please hand me the phone. I shall discuss this with him. Given the current delicate international atmosphere, with the Bear Nation under sanctions, Wang Yun felt a sense of urgency. Better to prepare than to react after calamity strikes. Gu Xiaoyu, the provincial secretary, is on the line. The old man shrugged, indicating it was not his intention. Gu Yechen responded with a hint of resignation. Hello, Secretary Wang. Oh, so you are the young man spoken of by old Master Han? Wang Yun probed. Indeed, I am the owner of that formula, Gu Yechen replied nonchalantly, exhibiting no trace of trepidation when conversing with state officials. Those demands you just mentioned might be challenging to negotiate. After all, they are rather extravagant. Would you consider splitting the investment equally, with the government holding 51? Wang Yun suggested, a glimmer of hope in his voice. The stakes are non-negotiable. I do not necessarily require this venture, and I can choose not to pursue it, for I am not in want of funds. Gu Yechen's tone remained steady, reminiscent of someone who had weathered many storms. Very well then, how about you provide the funding, while the state contributes the land and personnel? Allowing the state a 38 share? You must afford me some latitude to negotiate with my superiors. Wang Yun pleaded helplessly. Agreed. The research and development will be in your hands, but the formula must remain confidential. The CEO will be appointed by me, and all decisions must adhere to the CEO's directives. I shall dictate the company's affairs. Gu Yechen flashed a triumphant smile. I will promptly consult with my superiors. Please note down my phone number and call me back. I will inform you of the outcome as soon as possible. Wang Yun hastily ended the call and immediately sought counsel from his superiors. Gu Yechen hung up and turned around. How did it go? The old man inquired, his eagerness palpable. Gu Yechen shook his head, and the old man's expression soured, clutching his chest as if he might faint at any moment. Seeing this, Gu Yechen rushed to support him, while Han Chuxiao hurried to assist as well. Old man, you are far too excitable. I have yet to finish my explanation, and you are already on the verge of collapse. Gu Yechen lamented, bemused by how easily people resorted to dramatic reactions. The outcome of this matter would hinge on Secretary Wang's report. Ultimately, I would hold 62 ownership while the government retains 38, as Gu Yechen gestured with his fingers. It is getting late. I must take my leave. Gu Yechen retrieved a small box containing a medicinal pill encased in a porcelain vial. Old man, here is a pill. How you choose to use it is entirely up to you. You may keep it, present it to the state for research, or utilize it to save someone in need. I have no objections. Handing the box to the old man, Gu Yechen seized an opportune moment when neither Han Ji nor the old man were paying attention and pressed his lips against Han Chuxia's. A fleeting encounter. Han Chuxia, blushing furiously, felt embarrassed to have been so bold in front of her two relatives. She wished she could disappear into the ground if discovered. As she saw Gu Yechen off from the Han residence, she embraced him tightly. Yechen, thank you for helping my grandfather. You have entrusted yourself to me. Your affairs are now my affairs. I am pleased with the choice you made last night. As long as nothing extraordinary transpires between us, I shall continue to treat you well. Gu Yechen flashed a roguish grin, embodying his carefree nature. Han Chuxia's cheeks flushed, and she hastened to urge Gu Yechen away. Back at the villa, old Master Han turned to Han Chuxia and asked, Xia, tell me truthfully, did you and Gu Yechen engage in an intimate relationship last night? The old man was direct, sparing no euphemisms. Han Chuxia's face turned pale. Her family would never condone such behavior. Han Wangfei and Han Jin fixed their gazes upon her. At a loss for words, Han Chuxia could only nod affirmatively. Yes, we crossed that threshold last night. Her father was visibly distressed. Having never anticipated they had gone that far, he assumed it was merely innocent affection. He sank into the sofa, sighing heavily. Why the long face? Is Gu Xiaoyu not a good match? The old man retorted in frustration. Han Jin remained silent, knowing that a man like Gu Yechen would never marry any woman. At least not at this moment. If his daughter became entangled with him, it would spell disaster. What did he say? What are your thoughts? The old man inquired. Initially reluctant to question, he felt compelled to do so now. Hearing this, Han Chuxiao's heart sank. Gu Yechen had never declared any intentions of marrying her. He had only mentioned he could not provide her with a title. Han Chuxia shook her head. Last night, he said he could not give me a title, but he would treat me well. Han Jin was taken aback by his daughter's naivety. She often presented herself with an aloof demeanor, yet here she was, a mere girl. Deceived yet still counting her blessings. Gu Yechen is far from ordinary. Perhaps your current choice is indeed the best one. I have a premonition that his future accomplishments will be remarkable. The old man mused, affectionately ruffling Han Chuxia's hair. At the Shuiweixian Hotel, Zhang Yun's brother had arrived. Zhang Yun was showing him around the venue. Upon parking in a designated spot, Gu Yechen entered the hotel, where his status was no longer a secret. Numerous individuals greeted him along the way, and he acknowledged each one. Suddenly, he bumped into Zhang Yun and her brother. Yechen, Zhang Yun exclaimed in surprise. Are you all right? Gu Yechen shook his head, glancing at the young man beside her. Zhang Yun quickly introduced him. This is Zhang Zhe. a senior at Qingbei University currently interning. You are Zhang Yun and Appo's brother? Gu Yechen assessed him curiously. Boss, hello. I am Zhang Zhe. A management major in my final year at Qingbei University, the young man introduced himself. Gu Yechen nodded. Work diligently, and do not let your sister down. With that, he affectionately ruffled Zhang Yun's hair and made his way toward the chairman's office. You can explore on your own for now. I will join you later, Zhang Yun said before following Gu Yechen into the office, where his expression clearly indicated that he had something important to discuss. Zhang Zhe was aware of the relationship between his sister and the man before him. He understood that Gu Yechen had aided their family. Observing the camaraderie between them, he felt a sense of relief, realizing that his sister had made a wise choice. Chapter 63, Preliminary Plans for the Business Empire in the Office of the Chairman. Gu Yechen settled comfortably onto the sofa, while Zhang Yun assisted him by removing his coat and providing a soothing massage. Her skilled hands worked wonders, bringing great relief to Gu Yechen. How is the beauty enhancement company faring? Gu Yechen inquired, his eyes closed in relaxation. There is a company in need of funding, Zhang Yun explained. They are a startup, but due to one partner's betrayal, who absconded with the core technology to another firm, they now face imminent closure. Zhang Yun glanced at Gu Yechen before continuing. The company as president is quite the beauty, far surpassing my own looks. She chuckled, playfully covering her mouth. She is truly stunning. Gu Yechen regarded Zhang Yun with a hint of amusement, feeling a surge of competitive spirit at her teasing. Without hesitation, he swept her up in a princess carry and made his way to the bedroom. The room transformed into a realm of bliss filled with the vibrant essence of spring, captivating in its allure. It was no wonder that ancient rulers neglected their morning audiences. 2.5 hours later, on the sofa, Zhang Yun reclined against Gu Yechen's chest, exhaustion evident in her demeanor. She felt increasingly inadequate in satisfying him, as his vigor seemed boundless, a testament to his enhanced constitution. I'll freshen up, Zhang Yun said with a smile as she glanced at Gu Yechen. He nodded, planting a gentle kiss on her forehead, which she closed her eyes to savor. Upon her return, Gu Yechen turned to her and requested, please send me the address of that beauty company. I wish to assess their situation before deciding whether to engage them. Zhang Yu nodded and promptly sent the information, asking, do you need me to accompany you? Gu Yechen shook his head. Take care of your brother first. We may need to travel to Kyoto soon, and he will be responsible for managing the hotel. Ensure he understands the do's and don'ts. You know how much I despise corruption. Zhang Yun nodded in reassurance. Rest assured, I've explained everything to him. Gu Yechen embraced Zhang Yun tenderly before departing. He intended to investigate the beauty company as a preliminary step in establishing his burgeoning business empire. In Shanghai City, at the First People's Hospital, room 501, Jiang Feng lay on the bed, his pallor alarming, with his limbs restrained. The Jiang family was present, except for Jiang Qingyan. Upon learning of Jiang Feng's grievous injuries, chaos ensued, with Huang Li fainting in shock. Mr. Jiang, how are you feeling? A doctor in a white coat inquired, perusing the medical records. He had been the first to operate on Jiang Feng the previous day, when he was brought in with shattered arms and legs. The sight was truly shocking. How could a living being endure such brutality? When the police and ambulance found him, he was barely clinging to life. Much improved. Though I cannot feel my limbs, Jiang Feng replied. The doctor continued. Your arm has been broken, the bones shattered. The thigh and calf bones are also fractured. The thigh is less severe, but the right calf is completely shattered. Even with recovery, you may have a limp. However, with proper rehabilitation, normal function may be restored. At that moment, the police entered. Chairman Jiang, I am Qin Feng, the captain of the criminal investigation team. We need to discuss last night's events. Where were you before you ended up at a warehouse on the outskirts? Jiang Feng hesitated, particularly with his wife and daughter present, unsure how to articulate his situation. Mr. Jiang, please clarify. This is crucial to your case and may yield important leads, the officer insisted. Jiang Feng glanced at Huang Li, due to recent stress from the company. I went to the Weston Club to unwind, and afterward, I was taken away. Huang Li was incensed but remained silent, restrained by the officer's presence. Do you know how many assailants there were? Who were they? Jiang Feng pondered briefly. I wasn't focused on that. There were about a dozen, and I do not recognize them. Did you overhear anything unusual? Any conversations or significant remarks? Qin Feng pressed. Why are you not investigating the scene but questioning my husband here? What use are you? Huang Li interjected, her frustration boiling over. Qin Feng raised an eyebrow, surprised by her outburst. Silence. Jiang Feng commanded, aware that the assailants were no ordinary criminals. He turned to Qin Feng. Captain Qin, I sensed something amiss last night. Qin Feng narrowed his eyes, elaborate. Share every detail. They mentioned that someone had offered $1 million to have my limbs broken. They proposed that if I paid them $6 million, I would be unharmed. Initially, I thought they were bluffing, but ultimately, they followed through. After they assaulted me, I overheard them mention Jiang Ziheo's name, which struck me as peculiar. Thank you for your cooperation. We will investigate this matter further and seek out Jiang Ziheo for any connections, Qin Feng stated before departing with 2 officers. Darling, Do you think Saheo orchestrated this? That seems implausible. He is locked up, and we have exhausted all means to free him. How could he be behind this? Huang Li exclaimed, distraught. Father, could you have misheard? Saheo has always been well-behaved. How could he do such a thing? Jiang Ku added, sharing the family's disbelief. I wish I had misheard. But the pain was so acute that my mind was entirely clear. I certainly did not mistake anything. Jiang Feng's eyes hardened with determination. Could they have meant Jiang Nan? Jiang Ke suddenly proposed. Absolutely. Who else would be capable of such cruelty? Jiang Shui concurred. He has changed his name to Gu Yechen. And where would he obtain $1 million? We cannot place the blame solely on him. He has distanced himself from the Jiang family, yet they still seek to implicate him. Jiang Lai lamented, feeling helpless as Gu Yechen's past continued to haunt him. Meanwhile, Gu Yechen was en route to Su's beauty enhancement company. Chapter 64. How dare a worm interject before me? In the presidential office of Su Beauty Corporation, an elegantly poised and enchanting woman sat at her desk, the esteemed president. Su Yin. Her countenance was far from cheerful, for the departure of a partner had led to a significant breach of confidentiality, jeopardizing the company's latest product developments. Without an influx of capital, bankruptcy loomed ominously on the horizon, a fate she vehemently resisted as the architect of her enterprise. Knock, knock, knock. Come in, Su Yin beckoned. Her voice laced with a subtle allure that, while not overpowering, was undeniably captivating. With her head bowed over a stack of documents, her ponytail accentuated her intellectual and competent demeanor. A man entered the office, his appearance marked by a rotund figure and a rather unkempt visage. President Su. You seem quite busy, he remarked, his gaze fixated on Su Yin, as if he intended to scrutinize her thoroughly. Su Yin continued to peruse her files, acutely aware of his unwavering stare. Mr. Huang, please conduct yourself with decorum, she asserted, lifting her gaze to confront him directly. He was Huang Tao, the general manager of Huang Beauty Corporation and the son of the chairman of the Huang Group, a prominent family in Shanghai City, comparable to the Jiang family in stature. However, their business focus diverged, with the Huang family specializing in beauty products, and it was Huang Tao's smooth words that lured Su Yan's confidant away. President Su, I merely wish to extend an invitation for a meal. Is that too much to ask? Huang Tao smiled, his eyes shamelessly roaming across Su Yan's figure, causing her discomfort. I have made myself clear. I do not know you, and I have no desire to associate with someone who has pilfered my company's secrets. Kindly leave. Su Yan's tone grew increasingly assertive. Must we be so antagonistic? Huang Tao continued, unabashed. I have heard from your friend that you are still a maiden. Allow me to introduce you to the pleasures of womanhood. His gaze remained undeterred, knowing full well the precarious position of Su Beauty Corporation. His confidence stemmed from information relayed by Su Yan's confidant, which emboldened him to speak so brazenly. Su Yan's eyes widened in disbelief. She had not anticipated that Lu Yuyu would divulge such personal matters to Huang Tao. The weight of her burdens pressed heavily upon her, and she awaited a call from Zhang Yun, hoping for a glimmer of salvation. My status as a maiden is irrelevant to you. If you do not depart this instant, I shall have security escort you out, she declared, her voice now resolute. Security? Huang Tao laughed heartily, mocking her. Are you not aware of the current state of your company? I entered here with full transparency, and your security has all but vacated. Were it not for my desire to have you acquiesce willingly, I would have already taken matters into my own hands. Su Yan's expression darkened. She picked up the phone. Have all the security personnel left? The voice on the other end belonged to her secretary. Sister Su, they just left. Huang Tao offered them a bribe, claiming there is no future for us here. He is utterly despicable. What did you say? Su Yan's gaze turned icy as she regarded Huang Tao. I am merely assisting you, he retorted. Su Yan, if you become my mistress, I shall provide immediate financial support to rescue your company from its perilous predicament. You must understand that, with me here, no other company will consider investing in you. Coughing sounds echoed from outside the door. Huang Tao glanced over impatiently, discovering a young man standing there. Who are you? Su Yan blinked in surprise. Name, Su Yan. Age, 24. Appearance, 94. Health, excellent. Experience, entrepreneurial success. Having invested her entire fortune into a new product, only to face betrayal from a confidant, leaving her company on the brink of collapse. Development attempts, 0. I am here to discuss a partnership. The young man stated, my surname is Gu. Gu Yechen spoke with a calm demeanor, devoid of any emotional inflection. Kid, who invited you? Do you even know where you are? Huang Tao interjected, furious that someone dared to approach Su Yin for collaboration. His schemes to place her company in jeopardy would be undone if anyone succeeded in partnering with her. Gu Yechen, realizing Huang Tao's presence only after speaking, turned to him. Who do you think you are? You have no right to speak here. His icy tone transformed him entirely, as if a different persona had emerged. Huang Tao's fury ignited. It was the first time someone had spoken to him in such a manner. You little brat, just wait. I'll make sure you regret those words. He pulled out his phone, dialing a number. Hello, brother Su-Hu. I need you to teach someone a lesson. $1 million will suffice to take care of him. I'm at Su Beauty Corporation. He is here too. After hanging up, Huang Tao glared at Gu Yechen. Just wait, kid. Let us see how you manage to crawl out of here. A sharp slap resonated in the room as Gu Yechen coolly replied. Do you even know who you're speaking to? The last person to call themselves boss before me is currently on the floor. You'll be the second. With that, he launched a series of punches at Huang Tao. Initially, Su Yan felt a sense of relief, but as she witnessed the ferocity of Gu Yechen's assault, concern washed over her. She feared for her office's decorum and the safety of all involved. Now, no more pests interrupting, Gu Yechen declared, casually taking a seat in Su Yan's presidential chair, a gentle fragrance enveloping him, the chair exuding warmth. Observing Gu Yechen's audacious actions, Su Yan felt a tinge of discomfort, yet the prospect of a collaboration was too precious to dismiss. Mr. Gu, how familiar are you with our company? What are your intentions for this discussion? She inquired, pouring him a cup of tea. I am not well acquainted, but I have heard from Zhang Yun that you, Su Yan, are a beauty. Upon meeting you today, I find the reputation well-deserved, Gu Yechen replied, sipping his tea nonchalantly. Su Yan's expression soured. Yet another man drawn to her for her appearance, as if a woman were destined to be victimized. A wave of sadness washed over her. You mentioned Zhang Yun sent you? Su Yan's attention peaked, recognizing Zhang Yun as the general manager of Shui Yuexuan Hotel. The realization that this young man had connections to her friend filled her with a flicker of hope amidst despair. Chapter 65, 2 billion investment in Su's beauty company, almost there. Gu Yechen surveyed the office. Though modest in size, it was surprisingly well-equipped. Are you Mr. Zhang's associate? Su Yan scrutinized the young man before her, noting his youthfulness, which seemed uncharacteristic for someone associated with a high-ranking general manager at the Grand Shui Yuexuan Hotel. He bore an attractive demeanor, exuding a unique charm that made him quite appealing. Gu Yechen cast a glance at Su Yan, internally lamenting her lack of discernment. How could someone as affluent and handsome as himself be mistaken for an ordinary individual? To be precise, Zhang Yun is my associate, he replied with a casual shrug. Upon hearing this, Su Yan's eyes widened in disbelief. She assessed Gu Yechen again, struggling to reconcile his appearance with his claim. Meanwhile, Huang Tao lay feigning unconsciousness on the floor. Ever since Zhang Yun's promotion to general manager of Shui Yuexuan, even his father had to show respect in her presence. Previously, a junior named Tian had been barred from entering the hotel for offending Zhang Yun, leading to the downfall of the entire He family and a significant plummet in the He Group's stock prices. Huang Tao could already envision his own grim fate should Zhang Yun choose to pursue accountability. Gu Yechen dragged Huang Tao into a conference room and locked the door. Shall we discuss a potential collaboration? He prompted, noticing Su Yan's continued scrutiny. My apologies, Su Yan replied, somewhat embarrassed, as she handed Gu Yechen a document. However, he ignored the paperwork and instead inquired, how much do you require? Su Yan hesitated at his directness, apprehensive about discussing the price. She nervously held up 5 fingers. 50 million. What do you think? Gu Yechen sighed in exasperation. 50 million was hardly sufficient for him to strengthen his endeavors. At his current constitution of 66 points, reaching 100 seemed an insurmountable task. I have an idea I'd like to discuss. Are you interested? Gu Yechen had already formed a notion upon laying eyes on Su Yan. Her striking beauty of 94 met the system's standards. Su Yan furrowed her brows, lost in thought. What idea? Please share. After a moment of contemplation, she recognized the importance of seizing this opportunity. She was unwilling to see her company falter. I can offer you an investment, but I require 60% equity. I will serve as chairman, while you will remain the general manager, overseeing the company. Gu Yechen spoke calmly, and Su Yan was a capable and astute woman, though she hadn't anticipated her close friend would betray her behind her back. She could surmise Gu Yechen's intentions. You are quite perceptive. I appreciate intelligent women. You must have guessed my inclinations. I have no particular hobbies other than an appreciation for beautiful women, especially those of impeccable integrity. If you choose to align with me, I shall provide a substantial investment and an opportunity to expand your company. Gu Yechen no longer concealed his intentions, gazing directly at Su Yan. She closed her eyes, realizing the truth of his motives. It was still about her physical allure. Isn't this just a reprise of what that other man proposed? Do you think I would compromise myself for you? Gu Yechen's temper flared. He pushed Su Yan into the presidential chair before seating himself on the sofa. What you just said is the greatest insult to me. What does he have? A portly figure, short and stout. Look at me, elegant and charming, handsome and affluent. Tall and fit. I treat my women well, unlike him. You may call me a flirt, but I am not a rogue. Gu Yechen's vehement words were directed at Su Yan. Forgive me, but how much investment can you provide? Su Yan felt she had overstepped. After all, Gu Yechen's self-assessment was not without merit and perhaps even understated. I can offer you 2 billion in startup capital and provide you with a formula for a beauty elixir, an herbal concoction that could rejuvenate a woman's skin by approximately 10 years. Gu Yechen had originally intended for his sister to handle this, but had since devised a new plan, feeling more secure entrusting it to her in collaboration with the government. Su Yan was momentarily taken aback. 2 billion in startup funds? And a formula for beauty? Could she truly be worth such an investment? Are you certain you wish to provide me with these things? She asked, rising to confront him, her expression a mix of complexity. Indeed. As long as you agree to my terms, all of this shall be yours, he affirmed. Su Yan's expression dimmed slightly as she gazed at Gu Yechen. I do not believe I am worth so much. Her tone was tranquil, devoid of any turmoil. Gu Yechen sensed her sadness and approached her, enveloping her in his arms. Su Yan initially resisted but ultimately surrendered, recalling the precarious state of her company and realizing she had no choice but to accept Gu Yechen's terms. Once her emotions stabilized, he inquired, have you given it thought? I agree, Su Yan declared as she pulled him towards the room. Gu Yechen halted her, alarmed. What are you trying to do? I need the funds urgently. Let's finalize this quickly, so you can transfer the money. My company cannot survive another day. Her eyes glimmered with unshed tears, feeling utterly powerless. Rest assured, I will ensure you willingly comply, Gu Yechen whispered into her ear, his breath warm against her skin. He understood that while temptation could be a tool, genuine willingness was essential for success. Given Su Yan's current state, it was evident she lacked the conditions necessary for him to achieve his goals. Gu Yechen's intimate gesture sent a shiver through Su Yan, a tremor that seemed to resonate from her very soul. Let us finalize the contract. I will take 60% equity, and please provide me with your bank details so I can transfer the funds. His words momentarily stunned Su Yan, especially when he referred to himself as your man, leaving her momentarily flustered. She printed 2 copies of the contract. And after both parties signed, Gu Yechen promptly transferred 2 billion to her account. The system's funds were exceedingly convenient, allowing for immediate transactions without excessive complications. As Su Yan stared blankly at the notification of funds received, she sank to the floor, overcome with emotion and sobbing aloud. The immense pressure she had borne during this tumultuous period had nearly crushed her spirit. Gu Yechen extended his arms, cradling Su Yan in his embrace. This time, she reciprocated and leaned against his shoulder, surrendering her tears and snot without reservation, shedding the goddess-like demeanor she had once held. The poised and charismatic Su Yan was now reduced to a blubbering mess. All right, you've turned into quite the mess. Gu Yechen gently patted her back, offering quiet comfort. Congratulations. Host, you have invested 2 billion in Su's beauty company, acquiring 60% equity and earning 20 enhancement points. All points allocated to Constitution. Gu Yechen communicated directly with the system in his mind. With the 20 enhancement points, his Constitution rose to 68. Su Yan excused herself to the restroom to tidy up her appearance, realizing she indeed looked quite disheveled. Just then Chapter 66, the explosive video on Jiang Feng's phone at that moment, several individuals burst into the office. Boss Wang. Where's the person you asked us to deal with? Su Hu entered, noticing the tension on the faces of his subordinates as they stared ahead. He followed their gaze and, in an instant, felt a shiver run down his spine. Mr. Gu, what brings you here? Su Hu stammered, his voice trembling. After all, this was a major financier. Offending him would spell disaster. As you can see, I am the one Huang Tao intended to target. I presume you were summoned to deal with me, yes? Gu Yechen remarked, teasingly observing Su Hu. Impossible. We merely came here for a shopping excursion. Su Hu awkwardly replied, his face flushed with embarrassment, mentally cursing Huang Tao 100 times over. The person you seek is in the conference room next door. Feel free to check. Gu Yechen indicated, prompting Su Hu to pivot and exit hastily, leaving no time for further conversation. Gu Yechen smiled, envisioning the state Huang Tao would be in, likely quite battered. Before long, Su Yan emerged from the restroom. Initially, she had been barefaced, but upon her return, she wore a subtle yet alluring makeup that tugged at Gu Yechen's heartstrings. Such a captivating woman, both intelligent and poised, radiated elegance, making it no wonder that someone like Huang Tao would stubbornly pursue her. A faint allure emanated from Su Yan, as if it were an innate charm. Unable to resist, Gu Yechen pulled her into his embrace and pressed his lips against hers. Su Yan momentarily lost herself. Was this truly her first kiss? Instinctively, she contemplated resisting, but then recalled her current role as Gu Yechen's lover. Although the term felt unflattering, her acquiescence to his wishes had already branded her with that label. If Gu Yechen were to marry, she would inevitably be the other woman, a most uncomfortable title. To avoid jeopardizing Gu Yechen's investments, Su Yan clumsily reciprocated his kiss, which delighted Gu Yechen, who sensed the change in her demeanor. 2.5 minutes later, they parted lips, and Su Yan's cheeks flushed a deep crimson, resembling a budding red rose. You will not regret your choice, Gu Yechen declared, his gaze filled with tenderness. Captivating Su Yan, the system had magnified Gu Yechen and Appo's charm, allowing him to swiftly attract the opposite sex, just as they locked eyes in a moment of intimacy. A scream echoed from the adjacent room. Su Yan jolted back to reality, quickly lowering her head. What happened next door? She dared not meet Gu Yechen's gaze. Gu Yechen chuckled as he gently caressed her hair, leading her by the hand toward the exit. Nothing much, just Huang Tao sent someone to deal with me, and it appears I know them. I suspect they are currently giving him a thorough beating. Upon hearing this, Su Yan was taken aback, then stifled a giggle, her beauty blossoming with the laughter. Gu Yechen, captivated by the sight before him, struggled to suppress the urge to kiss her again. Your charm is truly irresistible, he remarked, leading her to the conference room. Su Yan's cheeks flushed once more, yet she said nothing. As Gu Yechen opened the door, a wave of metallic tang wafted through the air. He swiftly shielded Su Yan's view. Darling, don't look, it might frighten you. Su Yan shot him an incredulous glance, thinking his caution unnecessary. How could such a scene possibly disturb her? Mimicking Gu Yechen's earlier tone, she replied, Darling, you underestimate me. Amused by her mimicry, Gu Yechen stepped aside, allowing her a glimpse. Instantly, she felt nausea rise within her. Gu Yechen quickly shielded her view again. You should get back to work. After Su Yan departed, Gu Yechen transformed entirely. He settled into a chair, observing the battered Huang Tao, whose face resembled a swollen mess, his left arm broken. Mr. Huang, weren't you promising me a good show? Gu Yechen smirked, his eyes cold as ice. I was wrong. Please let me go. I want to return here. Huang Tao begged, enduring excruciating pain as he bowed before Gu Yechen. Oh, just moments ago, you were quite arrogant, calling me old man with such bravado. Now you plead for mercy? Gu Yechen scoffed, disdain evident in his expression. How foolish to pose as something one is not. Send him to the hospital for a few days. Gu Yechen instructed Su Hu, transferring 2 million to him before departing. In this age of law and order, Gu Yechen, despite his system, preferred to avoid unnecessary complications. Su Hu teased the incapacitated Huang Tao. I must say, Mr. Huang, why choose to provoke the wrong person? Thankfully, our benefactor is magnanimous and only wishes you a brief stay. A scream echoed from behind, yet Gu Yechen remained unfazed. Exiting the conference room, he made his way to Su Yan's office, where he transcribed a prescription, handing it to her. I must attend to matters. But here is the formula for the beauty elixir. Develop it well. I await your good news. And do remember to safeguard your virtue. He pressed a gentle kiss upon her lips. He refrained from indulging in her fully, knowing he had other endeavors to pursue. Su Yan, however, willingly embraced Gu Yechen. Recognizing that a man capable of presenting 20 billion along with a formula was far from ordinary, perhaps aligning herself with him was the wisest choice. As Su Yan escorted Gu Yechen outside, they shared a brief embrace before parting. I will protect my virtue, Su Yan vowed internally, aware that Gu Yechen was no ordinary man. Losing her purity could very well mean losing his favor. After leaving, Gu Yechen returned home. Jiang Feng, brace yourself. He smirked, for he would retaliate against the Jiang group for their actions against the orphanage, an eye for an eye. Gu Yechen accessed his computer, infiltrating the Jiang group's network. Shaking his head, he noted how clear the accounts had been under his sister's management. But since her departure, chaos had ensued, with numerous illegal activities surfacing. Jiang Feng seemed to be spiraling further into confusion. Gu Yechen copied all pertinent data, implanting a virus before sending the entire account details to the regulatory bureau, merely a taste of what was to come for Jiang Feng. Once completed, Gu Yechen used the system's virtual number to call Jiang Feng's mobile, implanting the virus. He directly accessed Jiang Feng's phone, searching for incriminating evidence that could bring him down. Within a hidden folder, he discovered a trove of videos featuring Jiang Feng with various women, the explicit nature of which would leave even the most seasoned individuals stunned. Among them, he stumbled upon 2 men, one of whom was Jiang Feng. Who would have guessed he harbored such proclivities? Covering his eyes, Gu Yechen hastily reached for eye drops, fearing the impact on his vision. After a moment, he opened his eyes, his mind already racing with plans. This time, he would ensure Jiang Feng's disgrace was absolute. Chapter 67. Expulsion from the guild. Gu Yechen continued to infiltrate Huang Li's phone, only to discover that she had saved videos. And surprisingly, the male lead was not Jiang Feng, but rather one of his brothers. Huang Li, who outwardly presented herself as a devoted housewife, was revealed to be of a different nature altogether. Not only was she unfaithful, but she was entangled with Jiang Feng's brother. Gu Yechen quickly averted his gaze, insisting on not witnessing or hearing such impropriety. The intensity rated a 5-star explosion, slightly below Jiang Feng's 6 stars. He then examined Jiang Ke's phone data. The seemingly assertive Jiang Ke was unexpectedly quite flirtatious, achieving a 4-star explosion rating. Although there were no videos on her phone, the chat records were sufficient to confirm certain matters. Reclining on the sofa, Gu Yechen was astonished to find the Jiang family so scandalous. He dared not check Jiang Lai and Jiang Shui's phones. Fortunately, he was not a member of the Jiang family. Otherwise, he would be at a loss on how to cleanse himself of such filth. To relieve his strained eyes, Gu Yechen decided to take a shower and then watch a live stream. In the LA 101 live streaming room, preparations were underway for the guild competition that night. At that moment, the guild president sought out Xia Ran, asking, will Qingfeng Mingyue be attending tonight? The president of the LA guild, a rather handsome man around 32 years old named Zhong Junyi, had specifically chosen to stay in the 101 Girl Group's livestream. As the upcoming guild competition was particularly significant, and only Qingfeng Mingyue could help them secure victory. I don't know. I messaged Qifeng Gu, but he hasn't replied. I can't be certain he will show up, Xia Ran replied nervously, glancing at her phone, noticing that Gu Yechen had not responded to her messages. At this moment, Zhang Junyi advised her, you must seize this opportunity. If you can capture Qifeng Mingyue's interest, your path will be much smoother. But I don't possess other skills. I only know how to sing and dance. Xia Ran was perplexed by his suggestion. You seem to have overlooked a significant, innate advantage. You are a woman. And he is a man. This is your edge. If you can attract him, your future will be secure, Zhang Junyi stated matter-of-factly. Xia Ran trembled at his words. She merely sought to earn a bit of money and had never considered such matters. After hearing Zhang Junyi and Appo's comments, she felt a wave of regret wash over her. Think carefully about it, he said before turning and leaving. In his eyes, beauty was irrelevant. He sought individuals who could generate profit, not those who lacked adaptability. Today, they were up against a formidable opponent in the competition, one that had already proven their strength, and without Qingfeng Mingyue, they would undoubtedly face defeat. As the match commenced, the battle escalated rapidly, and the 101 girl group found themselves utterly defenseless, with only Yu Tian and a new powerhouse holding the fort. Zhang Junyi's expression darkened as he witnessed this dismal performance. Was their first guild competition destined to end in such a humiliating defeat? He called out to Xia Ran. Come here. Confused, she approached. What is it, President? Zhang Junyi, abandoning his previous demeanor, unleashed a torrent of scorn upon her, demanding that she message Qingfeng Mingyue to inform him about the guild competition. Xia Ran, unaccustomed to such treatment, burst into tears. Why are you crying? If we lose this guild competition, you need not return. This is your final chance. If we fail, you can leave, Zhang Junyi said darkly before storming off. Xia Ran took out her phone to message Gu Yechen, but received no reply. She attempted to call him 3 times, yet there was no answer. She squatted on the ground, weeping quietly like a wounded kitten, struggling to suppress her despair before ultimately returning to the stage, only to find that Qingfeng Mingyue did not appear. After stepping down, a host approached her and sighed. The president has instructed you to sign the documents. You may leave. Xia Ran accepted the papers, glancing at them to discover they were a contract termination agreement. Overwhelmed, her tears fell to the ground. After confirming the contents were accurate, she signed and departed. Before leaving, she bid farewell to her viewers in the live stream, explaining her poor health and that she might not return. With tears in her eyes, she exited. President, Xia Ran has left. An assistant informed Zhang Junyi. If she can't even retain her brother, what is the point of continuing this live streaming nonsense? Zhang Junyi cursed. As the second PK began, the LA girl group, originally consisting of 5 members, replaced Xia Ran with another. At that moment, Gu Yechen stealthily entered the live stream, furrowing his brow as he sent out a message. Where has that Ran gone? Why can't I see her? Comments flooded in, revealing that Ran had been expelled, leaving Gu Yechen astonished. He checked his phone to find Xia Ran had sent him 6 or 7 messages and called 3 times. Hello, Xia Ran. I was in the shower and didn't see my phone. Have you really been kicked out? Gu Yechen felt bewildered as he called her back. How could the most popular member of the 101 girl group be dismissed? Yes, they felt I couldn't keep you. So after the first guild competition loss, they expelled me, Xia Ran replied, her tone calm as she sat by a bridge, sipping on alcohol and enjoying the sea breeze. Perhaps it's for the best. If such trivial matters can lead to your expulsion, it indicates they never truly regarded you as one of their own, Gu Yechen remarked blandly. Exactly. I've come to terms with it. School starts in a month, and I won't have much time anyway. By the way, Qingfeng Gu, what do you do? Xia Ran listened intently to Gu Yechen's voice, noting he seemed relatively young. Oh, I'm still a student. I'm preparing to apply to Tsinghua University and Peking University. My grades aren't out yet, but if I'm not mistaken, I'll be this year's national top scorer. Gu Yechen boasted proudly, having transformed from an underachiever into a top student. Xia Ran's spirits lifted upon hearing this. So you're a junior. When you arrive, I'll be your senior in the second year. The tone between them lightened considerably as they discussed their shared experiences. You'll have to take me out for delicious food. Who knows? I might even become your rival in love. Gu Yechen teased, sensing Xia Ran's mood had brightened. You're quite the charmer. Your voice is delightful. You're humorous and wealthy. What kind of girl wouldn't be drawn to you? Xia Ran laughed. The gentle breeze tousling her hair, enhancing her beauty with a youthful, romantic air. Do you stream live? Gu Yechen inquired, eager to encourage Xia Ran to start broadcasting. As it represented an opportunity he was keen to seize, wanting to ensure their guild president would be left in the dust. Chapter 68. You are not worthy to slap me. Are you going to give me a boost? Xia Ran chuckled lightly, her voice laced with a charming Sichuan accent. Initially jarring to the ears, it soon revealed itself to be rather endearing. What's the big deal? Once you go live, I'll support you. Let's show those who kicked you out what they're missing. Gu Yechen responded with a smile. Xiaoran pondered for a moment. Realizing she had little else to do and needed to buy a house to bring her parents to live in Kyoto, relying solely on herself seemed a daunting task. Yet, she wondered if Qingfeng Mingyue might perceive her as a materialistic woman. Nervously, Xiaoran asked, Qingfeng Gu, do you think I come across as a gold digger? Not at all. Gu Yechen replied nonchalantly, but internally he thought it was only natural to spend on his woman. After all, she would eventually be his. Xiaoran logged into her Douyin account and began her live stream. With around 50,000 followers, excluding bots, she was pleasantly surprised when Gu Yechen sent 20 love rockets, propelling her to the top of the charts. Many viewers were drawn to her live stream by Gu Yechen SID. The name Qingfeng Mingyue had become legendary on Douyin, quickly rising to prominence in less than a day. However, upon entering Xiaoran's stream, several viewers felt an uncanny familiarity. Isn't this the girl group streamer? Why isn't she at the major guild competition but streaming alone here? Indeed, I saw her earlier in the first round, and she suddenly announced she had to leave, never to return. Why does she live alone now? The online community buzzed with speculation and inquiries. You don't have to guess. It's quite simple. I've been kicked out. And I'm currently uncontracted, streaming solo, Xiaoran said with a faint smile, her tone tinged with resignation. Well, so that's why Ran suddenly said she had to leave. The guild is utterly foolish. With Qingfeng Gu supporting her, she practically attracts traffic on her own. How could they have let such a star go? The comments flooded in, filled with sympathy for Xiaoran. It's alright. I initially had many thoughts. But now it doesn't matter. With Qingfeng Gu and all of you by my side, I consider myself fortunate, Xiaoran declared, bowing slightly to the camera. Don't cry. Keep it up, Ran. The comments accelerated, filled with encouragement as they noticed Xiaoran's tears. Instead of comforting her, Gu Yechen took decisive action by gifting Xiaoran all the star points he had, leaving other streamers in disbelief. Their hard-earned rewards vanished in an instant, all claimed by Xiaoran, leading to a surge in her followers. Though Xiaoran's family faced struggles, they provided her with unwavering support and love. She was determined to succeed, possessing remarkable talent and beauty that had drawn attention since childhood. Even in university, she was celebrated as one of the 5 campus beauties, attracting admirers in droves. Despite the attention from wealthy suitors, Xiaoran remained resolute, adhering to her parents' teachings. Never take what isn't yours. She kept this ethos close to her heart. On the other side, Zhong Juni felt a surge of anger upon seeing Xiaoran dismissed, only to have Qingfeng Mingyue appear shortly thereafter, an undeniable slap to his face. Noticing Qingfeng Mingyue's continued support for Xiaoran stirred something within him. He picked up his phone and attempted to call her. Sorry, the number you dialed is currently busy. Xiaoran had already blocked him. Undeterred, Zhong Juni used a different phone to call again. Xiaoran frowned, sensing the unease in her live stream. Hello, she answered. Xiaoran, have you eaten yet? Zhong Juni's sycophantic tone echoed through the stream. Is there something you need? Xiaoran's expression darkened at his audacity to contact her after her dismissal. Actually, we didn't fire you. It was merely an event. The team is waiting for your return. He was desperate, thick-skinned as ever. Xiaoran scoffed, her voice icy. Do you think of me as some sort of tool? You can dismiss me at will and then expect me to return? What do you take me for? The viewers were taken aback, witnessing Xiaoran's fierce retort for the first time as she hung up without hesitation. Haha. Ran's response is priceless. The comments erupted in laughter. Yu Yechen, pleased to see her unaffected demeanor, sent another 100 love rockets, drawing even more viewers. Xiaoran covered her mouth in disbelief. Thank you, Qingfeng Gu, for the 100 love rockets. Love you lots. After uttering those words, she felt a bit embarrassed, quickly clarifying, that last part doesn't count. It was a slip of the tongue. Laughter filled the chat. Ran, with a wealthy and kind Qingfeng Gu, what's wrong with that? The viewers teased. Suddenly, a PK challenge appeared, and Xiaoran inadvertently clicked to accept. Oh no, I clicked it again by accident. Hello, she greeted, extending respect to her opponent, who offered no acknowledgement, disregarding her audience entirely. One account named I am Ran's little fan sent a rocket, quickly diminishing the opponent's health bar. However, the rival retaliated with 10 rockets, declaring, let Qingfeng Mingyue handle this. You aren't worthy of him. A prestigious account sent a comment that caught Gu Yechen's attention. Want to slap my face? You are sorely mistaken. Gu Yechen replied, sending a message of his own. In battles among men, there was no need for excessive words. Those were reserved for boasting after victory. Chapter 69. The defeated shall call me father. Gu Yechen spotted another eternal god across from him. This round should be entertaining. He immediately launched 1,000 love rockets, kicking the headlines. Incredible. Brother Mingyue is amazing. A million just like that. Protect our Ran. Charge. Under Gu Yechen's enthusiasm, many others began to send gifts as well. Although they were not substantial, they represented the heartfelt intentions of the viewers. ISNT live streaming all about such gradual accumulation? Thank you, Brother Qingfeng. Xiaoran bowed to the camera, expressing gratitude to all the brothers and sisters supporting her in the live chat. You are all fantastic. Xia Ran began to dance gracefully before the camera, and her performance garnered 100 rockets from a future deity. Thank you for your support, President Feng. As soon as Xia Ran finished speaking, 1,000 lifelong loves appeared on the other side, instantly diminishing her health bar by 2/3. Gu Yechen furrowed his brow. Is this for real? Bring it on. That was merely a warm-up. An eternal god with the ID Old Cannon sent a flying message. Want to play something different? Gu Yechen replied with a smile. What do you propose? Old Cannon responded. Quite simple. The loser must delete their account. It's not that complicated. Gu Yechen's message made Old Cannon gasp. How could a deity with over 10 million just delete their account on a whim? Do you think I have a gold mine at home? What is your decision? Gu Yechen pressed. Let us change it up. A deity with over 10 million deleting their account? That is too wasteful. Old Cannon wasn't keen on that idea. Fine. Then how about the loser sends 20 consecutive messages saying they are a fool and calls the winner grandfather, while also gifting 100 rockets? Gu Yechen was indifferent. Initially planning to trick Old Cannon, but it seemed he wouldn't fall for it. All right, it's settled. Old Cannon agreed this time. Without further ado, Gu Yechen sent over 5,200 lifelong loves, instantly depleting Old Cannon's health bar, equating to a staggering 16 million RMB. Xia Ran was left dumbfounded, tears welling up in her eyes as she witnessed such generosity for the first time, having already spent nearly 200 million in experience points. Gu Yechen's actions propelled him past the cosmic god level, achieving the highest customization. The platform promoted him as this was the very first customization to appear online, and the influx of 5,200 lifelong loves left everyone in awe, drawing in millions of viewers. In the live streaming management office, the staff rushed to stabilize Xia Ran's stream. We must maintain this momentum. Increase her server capacity. Old Cannon was taken aback. Am I really going to be the loser here? This is absurd. To avoid losing too badly, he sent over 5,200 rockets and then halted further contributions. Come on, fulfill your promise. Gu Yechen sent a flying message. Damn, can I have a moment to prepare? Old Cannon grumbled. Being a straightforward person, Old Cannon gifted Xia Ran 100 rockets, then proceeded to call himself a fool 20 times, falling silent afterward. Did you forget something? Gu Yechen stifled a laugh, finding Old Cannon amusing. Despite knowing he had lost, he didn't want to appear too pathetic and still ended up spending over 5 million. Well, I called you big brother. Can't we skip that part? Old Cannon sent a flying message. Sure, let us lower the hierarchy. You don't have to call me grandfather. Gu Yechen found this guy entertaining. Old Cannon sent a flying message, calling Gu Yechen dad. The live chat erupted with laughter. Gu Yechen couldn't help but chuckle. Good son, you may now kneel in peace. All right, take care, dad. I'm off. Old Cannon sent a flying message, leaving everyone in stitches. In the end, the two exchanged WeChat contacts, revealing that he was from Kyoto and intended to attend Qingbei University. Thank you, big brother Old Cannon. Xia Ran was astonished that he actually sent her 100 rockets, and even called Qing Feng Mingwei dad. As Xia Ran prepared to return to her dormitory, she chose to stay in Kyoto for a part-time job during the summer instead of going home. A chance encounter led her to the live streaming industry, which was said to be easy money with no strict requirements. Hence, she decided to apply for a position. The school allowed students to stay during breaks if they followed the proper application process, which was typically for research, exam preparation, or those facing financial difficulties. Despite being the campus beauty, Xia Ran earned her keep through part-time jobs, often referred to as both the pure campus beauty and the common campus beauty. Her workplace was not far from the school, and she soon arrived on campus. Xia Ran even introduced her viewers to the details of Qingbei University. Even during the break, there were still quite a few students remaining on campus. All right, everyone, that concludes today's live stream. I need to rest now. Xia Ran waved to the camera, receiving responses before logging off. Thank you, brother Qingfeng. I'm really happy today. Immediately after ending the stream, Xia Ran called Gu Yechen. As long as you're happy. Gu Yechen pondered for a moment and added, by the way, I'm only 18 and a half. Why are you calling me brother? A junior. The two chatted for a while before hanging up. Xia Ran held her phone, feeling elated, glancing over the chat history again, her lips curling into a smile, reminiscent of a naive girl in love. Congratulations, host. Zhang Yun's affection value has reached 88%, granting the host one lottery opportunity. Just as Gu Yechen was about to sleep, the system notification startled him. 88%. This marked the first woman he had bound whose affection value surpassed 80%. Now, Gu Yechen had 3 lottery chances. System, initiate the lottery once. The wheel spun rapidly, finally halting at a selection option. Congratulations, host. You have acquired 55% of shares in Hengruei Bank. The agreement has been activated. This system has taken care of everything for you. No need to thank me. Hengruei Bank, the largest foreign bank in China, possesses substantial funds and immense strength, even surpassing the People's Bank of China, with a market value twice that of the latter. Gu Yechen was thoroughly pleased with the system's operations. It was indeed a competent system. Hungrui Bank has 5 subsidiaries across major cities, including Shanghai, Kyoto, Chongqing, Guangzhou, and Jiangcheng, with the parent company located in Shanghai City. Gu Yechen called Zhang Yun, as her affection value had risen to 88, indicating she was likely infatuated. Zhang Yun lounged on her sofa, her long legs casually crossed. Upon seeing Gu Yechen's call, she immediately smiled and answered, "Hello, Yechen. Are you asleep?" Gu Yechen's gentle tone evoked fond memories for Zhang Yun. "Not yet. I'm reading a book." Zhang Yun straightened up, a cup of coffee in front of her, though her thoughts were solely consumed by Gu Yechen. "Come to the British noble residence. I want to rest with you tonight. Is that all right?" Zhang Yun was momentarily taken aback. She sensed the calmness in Gu Yechen's voice and wondered if he was genuinely seeking her opinion. "But I'm merely his." Gu Yechen's words brought tears to Zhang Yun's eyes. "All right, I'm coming over now." Zhang Yun grabbed her phone and car keys, changed her outfit, and set off. In her heart, besides her family, Gu Yechen was her everything. She realized she was just a woman being supported by Gu Yechen. He could have commanded her to come, yet he chose to ask for her opinion, which moved her deeply. Chapter 70. The flashy man in pink attire at 10:30 in the evening, on Shanghai Avenue. A crimson Ferrari SF90 sped down the road, its convertible top down, as the nightlife of Guangdong province began to awaken. Despite the multitude of vehicles around, none followed the Ferrari SF90, where a woman of remarkable grace occupied the driver's seat, capturing the attention of many with glances filled with envy and admiration. As the traffic light turned red, even more eyes were drawn to her. Zhang Yun, behind the wheel of the open-top Ferrari SF90, paid no heed to the opinions of those around her. Her sole desire was to reach Gu Yechen as swiftly as possible. "Miss, could I possibly add you on WeChat?" A Porsche 911 pulled alongside, and the driver leaned over to address Zhang Yun. She merely glanced at him before dismissing him entirely. "There's no need to be so aloof. My name is He, let us get acquainted." The man boasted a head of golden hair and donned a flamboyant pink ensemble, complete with earrings, a clear indication of his spoiled upbringing. He, the scion of the He family conglomerate, was notorious in Shanghai City for his indulgent lifestyle. Always surrounded by beautiful women, using any means necessary to claim those he desired. The He family ranked 5th among the 5 notable families in Shanghai City, primarily engaged in retail, with a vast network across the nation, showcasing their formidable power. Zhang Yun ignored him completely. When the green light appeared, she pressed the accelerator and surged forward, leaving He behind. "Such a personality. I admire women with spirit," he mused, recalling past encounters where even the most headstrong had succumbed to his whims under pressure. The thought of filming a video with Zhang Yun already played in his mind as he hastily followed her. After a while, he was surprised to see Zhang Yun drive into the prestigious British Manor, a locale reserved for the affluent, especially those residing in its villa district. Ding dong. The doorbell rang. Gu Yechen checked the surveillance and, upon recognizing Zhang Yun, pressed the switch to unlock the door, which opened automatically. "You're here." Gu Yechen greeted her with a warm smile. Zhang Yun hurried towards him, diving into his embrace and holding him tightly. Gu Yechen was taken aback. This was not their first meeting. "What's wrong, darling?" he asked, affectionately stroking her hair. "Nothing. I just missed you too much," Zhang Yun replied with a shy smile. "I think I should buy you a flat. Perhaps a spacious one right behind here. That way, whenever I'm home, you can come visit whenever you wish. What do you think?" Gu Yechen teased as he playfully tapped her nose. "That's too generous. You've already been so good to me. I can't ask for more." "Just being by your side brings me joy," Zhang Yun responded, her gaze intertwining with his, her eyes sparkling with sincerity, momentarily captivating Gu Yechen. Rising on her toes, she pressed her lips against his. After 2.5 minutes, their lips parted. Zhang Yun blushed, taken aback by his charm. She felt utterly unable to resist him. She believed any woman who had shared a moment with Gu Yechen would find it hard to withstand his allure. "Careful, I might just take you right here," Gu Yechen teased, poking her forehead. Zhang Yun, however, held a different perspective. Since being with Gu Yechen, she felt complete. Her friends had often remarked that their husbands lacked experience and preparation, but in this regard, Gu Yechen was a master, despite his tender age of 18. "Let us go out for barbecue," Gu Yechen suggested, gently caressing Zhang Yun's hair. Absolutely. For her, as long as she could be with Gu Yechen, any destination would suffice. Gu Yechen settled into Zhang Yun's Ferrari SF90, gesturing for departure. The Ferrari left British Manor and navigated to the city's hottest barbecue joint, aptly named Old Classmate Barbecue Tavern. This establishment catered to a wealthier clientele and offered various entertainment options, including singing, drinking, and music. He had been lurking outside, and upon seeing Zhang Yun emerge with a man in athletic wear seated beside her, anger bubbled within him. Zhang Yun was the woman he desired. How could he allow another to encroach upon his claim? He followed closely behind in his car. 10 minutes later, Zhang Yun parked in the barbecue restaurant's designated lot, where a staff member promptly arranged an exclusive parking space for the Ferrari SF90. Adhering to the establishment's policy to avoid complications, the barbecue offered an array of options, allowing patrons to choose whether to have the staff grill for them or to do it themselves. Gu Yechen and Zhang Yun opted for a cozy two-person table without a grilling station. Good-looking couple. What can I get you? A male server approached with a menu. What would you like to eat? Gu Yechen asked Zhang Yun. After a moment of consideration, she replied, I would like fatty beef, eggplant, and squid, 10 skewers of lamb, 10 of fatty beef, 4 of beef, 6 of chives, 6 of potatoes, 2 eggplants, 2 squids, 2 chicken wings, and 2 bottles of orange juice. Thank you. Gu Yechen placed the order and handed the menu back to the server. Understood. Please hold on. The server acknowledged, having noted the luxurious vehicle they arrived in. Li Gu. Here, the server handed the order slip to a barbecue chef, who promptly began preparing the meal. The atmosphere in the barbecue tavern was lively, with laughter and conversation filling the air, creating a delightful ambience. Shortly, the dishes arrived in full. Gu Yechen, ever attentive, offered the first skewer to Zhang Yun, a testament to his affection for her. Open wide, he said, gesturing playfully as he fed her a piece of fatty beef, taking the remaining half for himself. Zhang Yun blushed at the gesture, savoring the flavors that danced on her palate, filling her with bliss. She extended her hand, offering him a skewer of beef. And without hesitation, he accepted and took a bite. Just as they were enjoying their meal, the atmosphere shifted. A group of drunken patrons approached, playfully teasing other girls before turning their attention to Gu Yechen and Zhang Yun, a mischievous grin spreading across their faces. Chapter 71. Either climb out, or I will throw you out. Gu Yechen narrowed his eyes at the scene before him. The shopkeeper, who had initially intervened to prevent them from harassing a girl at another table, had not yet realized what was happening as the group approached him and his companions. Hey, beautiful. You look stunning. How about sharing a drink with us? And then we can have some fun together. One of the taller, slightly plump men whistled at Zhang Yun, prompting laughter from his companions. Step behind me, Gu Yechen said coolly, then turned to face the 5 men. Why is it that every time I go out to eat, there are always flies buzzing around my ears? It truly is perplexing. The expressions of the group shifted as they recognized the veiled insult directed at them. I present you with 2 choices. First, kneel and apologize to us. Then let the beauty behind you join us for some entertainment. Second, we can leave you incapacitated and take her away ourselves. Choose wisely. The men leered at Zhang Yun, their intentions clear. Gu Yechen chuckled lightly. I too have 2 options for you. First, apologize to us and everyone present, then crawl out of here, as you have disturbed others. Second, I will personally throw you out. Let us go, guys. What are we waiting for? One of them shouted, and they all lunged at Gu Yechen. With a swift movement, Gu Yechen landed a punch on the foremost man, rendering him unable to fight back. The remaining men, momentarily stunned by his prowess, rushed in again. But their intoxicated bodies were no match for Gu Yechen's skills. After exchanging blows, all 5 lay sprawled on the floor. Gu Yechen fed Zhang Yun a piece of beef while indulging himself as well, prompting envy from onlookers who wished to join in their display of affection. What a pitiful bunch. Did you really think you could intimidate anyone? You are as fragile as tofu. Even 20 of you without weapons would be futile. Gu Yechen shook his head at them. Apologize quickly, or you may find yourselves unable to move for 2 days. The defeated men grimaced in pain, their eyes betraying a mix of resentment and fear. They had not anticipated encountering someone as formidable as Gu Yechen, who had dispatched them in mere moments without sustaining a single blow himself. One man gritted his teeth and managed to utter, "We're sorry, we were wrong. We want to do it again." Gu Yechen smirked. If only you had thought this way sooner. You needed to learn your lesson the hard way. Now, pay for all the guest bills tonight. System, capture photos of these 5 men. Gu Yechen commanded the system, while he was letting them off the hook. He knew that Li Hu would not be so forgiving. A little cash to teach these fools a lesson and ensure they would be incapacitated for a month was essential. Without the law, they would have faced dire consequences. Zhang Yun gazed at Gu Yechen with admiration and affection. Yechen, you're incredible. She stood on her toes and planted a kiss on his handsome cheek. Gu Yechen gently patted Zhang Yun's head. You are my woman. With me around, no one shall dare to bully you. Onlookers witnessed this tender moment with envy, many women eager to obtain Gu Yechen's contact information, but he remained uninterested. Hand in hand, Gu Yechen and Zhang Yun departed the contentious locale, his Ferrari SF90 roaring to life, leaving the crowd in awe. Is it possible we've angered someone we shouldn't have? A slender man asked, glancing at his fallen companions. They were left speechless, aware that while their families may have some wealth, a Ferrari SF90 was but a distant dream. On their way home, Zhang Yun and Gu Yechen held hands tightly, deepening her conviction that he was a man worthy of her trust. Once home, they settled on the sofa, and Zhang Yun reflected on the evening's events. Yechen, if we encounter such situations again, we must be more cautious, she said with concern. Gu Yechen squeezed her hand reassuringly. Don't worry, I will be. Let us freshen up and rest, he suggested, and she nodded in agreement. Together they prepared for the night, embarking on a journey that would remain unspoken, 10,000 words omitted. 2.5 hours later, as night fell, they embraced in slumber, revisiting that beautiful moment in their dreams, their love for one another deepening. With Zhang Yun's affection for Gu Yechen reaching a score of 90. The next day, Gu Yechen awoke to find Zhang Yun had already left, and the room had been tidied. Lazybones, I've gone to work. I left you some porridge, make sure to eat well. Zhang Yun had left a note along with a lovingly prepared breakfast, reminiscent of a romantic gesture. After washing up, Gu Yechen descended to find a bowl of seafood porridge in the note. I don't know if you'll like it, but you must eat it all. With a chuckle, Gu Yechen thought, this girl is something else, leaving so early. After finishing his meal, he opened his phone to be inundated with news alerts, all trending. It turned out that Gu Yechen's report on the Jiang Group had been validated, resulting in half of their related enterprises being investigated, and their stock prices plummeting, leading to a mass sell-off. Seeing this, Gu Yechen seized the opportunity to buy out all the shares from retail investors. As the Jiang Group's stock was at its lowest, he planned to expose videos of Jiang Feng and Huang Li in a couple of days, which would likely lead to the demise of the Jiang Group. At that moment, a call came through. Hello, Secretary Wang. Gu Yechen smiled, sensing that things were falling into place. Yechen, the central government has given me clear instructions. You must come to Old Master Han's residence. I am waiting for you here. Wang Yun was exhilarated, recognizing the historical significance this breakthrough held for their nation. Such elixirs could save countless lives. All right, I'm on my way, Gu Yechen replied with a smile, grabbing his keys and heading out. Chapter 72. The Seven Stars Needle. The Han family manor is nestled in the serene outskirts of Yunding Mountain Park, situated 20 kilometers from the bustling city center. This picturesque location, surrounded by lush greenery, is bathed in sunlight during the early hours, where the melodious chirping of birds fills the fresh morning air, providing a transcendent escape from the mundane world. As Gu Yechen drove into the Han residence, he had 5 boxes of tea in the car. Upon entering the courtyard, he spotted 5 individuals seated there, among them Han Wangfei and Han Jing. The old gentleman appears to be in good health. Gu Yechen teased Han Wangfei with a smile, then nodded at Han Jing, greeting him, Uncle Han. Han Jing acknowledged him with a nod. Ever since he learned of Gu Yechen's relationship with his daughter, he had harbored a desire to confront him. Fortunately, Gu Yechen's remarkable qualities alleviated his concerns. Had he been a mere fool, he might have lost his composure. You young lad only knows how to jest with this old man. Han Wangfei chuckled, patting Gu Yechen on the shoulder. Allow me to introduce you. This is Provincial Secretary Wang Yun, with whom you've spoken on the phone. Young man Gu Yechen, it's a pleasure to meet you, Secretary Wang, Gu Yechen stated confidently, maintaining eye contact with Wang Yun. Ah, what a fine young man. Your demeanor rivals that of notable figures in our nation. Wang Yun exclaimed with hearty laughter. Which notable figure? Gu Yechen inquired, somewhat astonished. Was there truly someone of great significance in Huagua? This esteemed gentleman is Professor Fan Jingde, a retired expert in the field of medicine. The nation has reinstated him to oversee this critical assignment due to your situation, Wang Yun elaborated. Pleasure to meet you, Professor Fan. Pleasure to meet you, Commander Feng. Gu Yechen greeted them, his brow furrowing as he observed Fan Jingde's frail appearance. What's the matter, Xiaochen? Han Wangfei noticed the change in Gu Yechen's expression and immediately inquired. Professor Fan, as a distinguished figure in medicine, do you have any awareness of your own health condition? Gu Yechen asked with genuine concern. In 3 months, my time will run out, Fan Jingde replied after a moment of surprise, followed by a hint of relief. Young friend Gu, your keen perception is truly commendable. What is going on? Wang Yun asked, puzzled. There's nothing to worry about. It's merely that this young friend Gu possesses exceptional medical skills, able to discern my fate at a glance. It's quite a remarkable feat. Fan Jingde expressed with a sense of contentment, viewing life's natural cycle with acceptance. Professor Fan, perhaps you should rest? We can have the state send someone else, Wang Yun suggested, reluctant to burden someone nearing the end of their life. Fan Jingde shook his head resolutely. I must participate in the research of the physique pill. It pertains to the fate of our entire nation. But your health? Wang Yun persisted, still concerned. There's no need for worry, Gu Yechen interjected with a smile, producing a set of silver needles. Old sir, kindly remove your coat. Everyone was taken aback, uncertain of Gu Yechen's intentions, yet Fan Jingde's eyes sparkled with intrigue. Young friend Gu, do you possess a method to extend my life? Fan Jingde's excitement was palpable. If he could gain even a single year of life, they might succeed in developing the physique pill, and he would leave this world without regret. Uncle Han, could you please retrieve the physique pill I gave you? Gu Yechen requested, not wishing to use his remaining 3 pills. Upon hearing this, Han Wangfei immediately instructed Han Jing to fetch the physique pill. As Gu Yechen brandished the silver needles, they began to tremble in his hands. With remarkable speed, he administered 7 needles to Fan Jingde. This technique, known as the 7 Stars Needle, was a reward from the system, designed to enhance the vitality of human organs, potentially extending life by 2 years. However, during this period, the individual would remain weak and only capable of minor activities. If combined with the physique pill, it could extend life for at least 5 years, allowing one to function like a normal person. What is this? The 7 stars needle? Fan Jingdao exclaimed, his emotions bubbling over like a child. Professor Fan, what exactly is the 7 stars needle? Wang Yin asked, bewildered by the professor's childlike enthusiasm. The 7 stars needle is rumored to be an ancient technique long lost to time, said to possess the power to prolong life by 2 years, Fan Jingdao explained. Looking intently at Gu Yechen, Mr. Gu, I am deeply grateful for your life-saving grace. Goodness. Gu Yechen quickly turned to the side, not daring to accept such a profound gesture of respect from an elder, suggesting instead that Fan Jingda's grandson perform the bow, as their generational gap was not vast. Laughter erupted among the group. You cheeky lad. As a luxury car entered the manor, Han Chuxiao emerged from it. Grandpa Fan, Uncle Wang, Uncle Feng, she greeted, bowing respectfully to the men. Chuxiao, I can't believe how much you've grown. You were just a little girl back then. Fan Jingda teased. Yechen, Han Chuxiao beamed, her icy demeanor as a corporate executive melting away into a charming sweetness. They truly make a good match, Wang Yin remarked, causing Han Chuxiao to blush. Han Wangfei hoped for a blossoming relationship between Han Chuxiao and Gu Yechen, as Gu Yechen's qualities were exceptional. As Han Wangfei prepared the tea, an enticing aroma wafted through the air. Is this tea remarkably fragrant? Where did it come from? Fan Jingda exclaimed, wide-eyed after taking a sip. There's plenty to go around. I've brought a box for each of you. Gu Yechen replied cheerfully. Yechen, I've relayed your request to the higher-ups. After deliberation, they have agreed to all your terms. Initially, this matter was quite complex, but due to Grandpa Han's first-hand experience, the state has decided to give it a try. You are permitted to establish a company in Shanghai City to develop the physique pill. With Professor Fan as a witness, both Commander Feng and I will report truthfully. If my assumptions are correct, the documents should arrive shortly. Wang Yun conveyed, looking at Gu Yechen. I understand. I will provide the funding, so I will trouble you, Uncle Wang, to select a location and find personnel, Gu Yechen replied, playfully addressing him as Uncle Wang. Once all matters were settled, Gu Yechen stayed at the Han residence for dinner. Before that, he made a phone call to Jiang Qingyin, informing her that he had something to discuss. Chapter 73. I will not marry Mozu. So give up on that thought. Gu Yechen departed from the Han residence, leaving a gentle kiss on Han Chuxiao's forehead before he left. Han Chuxia watched with a tinge of reluctance as Gu Yechen and Appo's vehicle faded into the distance until it vanished from her sight. Gu Yechen drove straight to Ning Qianxue's duplex apartment. He was aware that Jiang Qingyin had left the Jiang family to stay with Ning Qianxue. Yet he chose not to intervene, as he could not currently explain the origin of his funds. This collaboration with the state would, for the time being, put Jiang Qingyin's mind at ease. Chui Tianqing, the opulent residential complex in Shanghai City, boasted towering luxury apartments, each occupying an entire floor. The tallest buildings soared over 50 stories, with more than 40 structures in total. Ning Qianxue's duplex was situated in the premier Building 1, which consisted of over 60 stories, making it the pinnacle of luxury. At this moment, Jiang Qingyin and Ning Qianxue lounged, basking in the sun while admiring the view, wondering why their boss seemed so perpetually idle. Xiaoyan, did you just say that Xiao Chun is coming to see you? Ning Qianxue inquired, puzzled. What could he possibly want? Yes, he mentioned he had matters to discuss with me, so I invited him over, Jiang Qingyin replied, sipping her juice while gazing at the scenery. You must be aware of the situation with the Jiang family? Ning Qianxue observed Jiang Qingyin closely. Although Jiang Qingyin maintained a calm exterior, it was evident that she felt discomfort within. After all, she had worked tirelessly to elevate the company's value from over 100 billion to 800 billion, only to see it plummet to just over 500 billion. It would be disingenuous to claim she felt no sorrow. Jiang Qingyin nodded, acknowledging the situation. I was present when everything was running smoothly, yet upon my departure, such a significant issue arose. I truly cannot fathom how those leaders manage things. What about your father? Ning Qianxue hesitated, uncertain whether to continue. Just then, Jiang Qingyin's phone rang. She glanced at the caller ID and frowned. Hello, Miss Huang, what is it? Jiang Qingyin's tone was composed. After years of experience in the company, she had encountered her fair share of challenges. You ungrateful daughter. Your father's in the hospital, and you act as if you're oblivious. With the company in such turmoil, you can't even be bothered to check in? Are you trying to drive me to my grave? Huang Li's frustration boiled over as she realized Jiang Qingyin had not reached out, not even to inquire about Jiang Feng's hospitalization. Jiang Qingyin was momentarily taken aback. While she was aware of the Jiang group's troubles, she had not known about Jiang Feng's hospitalization. What happened? Why is he hospitalized? Jiang Qingyin's tone shifted as she spoke into the phone. Who knows? Your father was beaten so badly that all his limbs were broken. The company lacks support, and you need to return immediately to stabilize the situation. Once your father recovers, you can leave, Huang Li commanded with an authoritative tone that brooked no dissent. Miss Huang, have you forgotten? We are no longer connected. The fate of the Jiang group is irrelevant to me. If Jiang Feng is still alive, there is no need for you to contact me, Jiang Qingyan declared before hanging up. She sank to the ground, tears welling in her eyes as she felt the weight of despair. Ning Qianxue, standing at the door of the penthouse, overheard Jiang Qingyan's earlier words and felt a deep sadness for her friend. Being born into such a family was indeed a tragedy. Gu Yechen squatted before Jiang Qingyan, enveloping her in his arms. Eldest sister, do not fear. I will protect you, as long as you are unwilling. Not even the Mo family or the world's wealthiest can force you into marriage. Jiang Qingyan buried her face in Gu Yechen's chest, weeping uncontrollably. She could not comprehend why her parents were so biased, why they only cared for Jiang Zihao, creating such an apparent disparity between their children. After crying for 5 or 6 minutes, Jiang Qingyan gradually regained her composure, showcasing her strong ability to self-regulate. Xiaochun, did you come to discuss something with me? She asked, gazing at Gu Yechen with curiosity. Chapter 74. Jiang Qingyan agrees to become the company's general manager. Sister, there is something I wish to discuss with you. And I may need your assistance. Gu Yechen sat beside Jiang Qingyan, his expression earnest and his gaze intent, as if what he was about to reveal was of utmost importance. A gentle breeze wafted through, and the blazing sun illuminated the earth in a fiery glow. Observing her brother's serious demeanor piqued Jiang Qingyan's curiosity, and she smiled, saying, Please, speak. Whatever it is, even if it requires fetching stars from the sky, I shall assist you. Touched, Gu Yechen reflected on his previous life devoid of family, where he had never experienced the warmth of kinship. Now, having an elder sister after his reincarnation filled him with gratitude. I have established a company in collaboration with the government, dedicated to developing a medicinal pill that enhances physical vitality. Its effects are remarkably powerful, even possessing the potential for prolonging life. I would like to invite you to take on the role of general manager, overseeing the company's operations. This endeavor is crucial for our nation. The government will assign personnel for research and ensure the safety of our staff. Would you be willing to help me, sister? Gu Yechen implored, tugging at Jiang Qingyan's sleeve. His hopeful gaze met hers, and she paused, pondering the significance of a pill capable of extending life. Was this truly an elixir? Nonetheless, she was eager to accept, as this was the first genuine request for help from Gu Yechen. Very well, I accept your invitation. Seeing the anticipation radiating from his face, Jiang Qingyan acquiesced. Fantastic. Gu Yechen joyfully embraced her, spinning her around before gently setting her down. Jiang Qingyan's cheeks flushed slightly, delighted by his spontaneous affection. By chance, Gu Yechen noticed Ning Qianxue appearing from the rooftop entrance, and without hesitation, he dashed over to her, planting a kiss on her lips, leaving Ning Qianxue momentarily bewildered. Jiang Qingyan couldn't help but smile, secretly hoping for a union between the two, recognizing that Ning Qianxue's background was indeed noteworthy. After 2.5 minutes, their lips parted, and Ning Qianxue's face flushed crimson, her heart racing. Though this was not her first experience, the memories of their previous encounters lingered vividly, evoking a sense of nostalgia. Gu Yechen, noticing Jiang Qingyan watching their embrace, felt a twinge of embarrassment. After releasing Ning Qianxue, he swiftly redirected the conversation. Sister, you need not worry about me. My identity extends beyond our government collaboration. I am also the clandestine owner of the Shuyuexuan Hotel. Gu Yechen divulged his status, knowing it would soon become common knowledge. Yet he refrained from mentioning his position as the owner of Hongwei Bank, which would undoubtedly elicit greater astonishment. This revelation startled both Ning Qianxue and Jiang Qingyan. So you are the secret owner of Shuyuexuan. I had imagined it was a rotund, balding man. Ning Qianxue exclaimed, a playful grin adorning her face. Next time we dine, remember to treat us. Gu Yechen nodded, pride brimming in his voice. Of course, that essay given. As you are, in a sense, one of my women. Jiang Qingyan gazed at Gu Yechen with concern, moving closer to embrace him. Achieving such success at such a young age must have come with great hardship, she said, tears spilling onto the ground. Though they shared no blood ties, they were oblivious to the fact that they were not truly related. Sister, if you keep crying, it'll ruin your beauty. Gu Yechen teased, a mischievous smile on his face. Jiang Qingyan longed for this kind of life, yet it remained but a dream. Gu Yechen lingered at Ning Qianxue's home until evening. Initially intending to leave, he was persuaded to stay for dinner, postponing his plans to purchase a house for Zhang Yun until the following day. After enjoying dinner and watching television until 10:30, Jiang Qingyan reluctantly left, allowing Ning Qianxue and Gu Yechen some privacy. Although Ning Qianxue didn't voice her desires, Jiang Qingyan sensed her longing, which she would never admit. Once Jiang Qingyan departed, Gu Yechen found himself unable to resist Ning Qianxue's alluring presence, and they retreated to her room. Inside, Gu Yechen pressed his lips against hers, overwhelming her defenses, and she eagerly responded. Their connection was raw and unfiltered, with all barriers stripped away. Gu Yechen gazed deeply into Ning Qinshue's eyes, noticing her dazed expression. "Swear, may I?" he inquired, prepared for what lay ahead, awaiting her consent. Ning Qinshu, captivated by the fiery intensity in his gaze, succumbed to her desires, feeling herself drawn in once more. With her agreement, Gu Yechen wasted no time. The room was soon filled with warmth and intimacy, while the moon shyly hid behind the clouds, unable to bear witness to the scene unfolding within. 2.5 hours later, Gu Yechen cradled Ning Qinshu as they drifted into a deep slumber, both exhausted, and they slept soundly until dawn. The next morning, Gu Yechen awoke to find it was already 9 o'clock. He was alone in the room, with Ning Qinshu having vanished. Stepping outside, he discovered Jiang Qingyan was also absent, leaving behind a breakfast note that read, "Remember to eat." A smile crept across his face as he recalled the delightful chaos of last night with Ning Qinshu. After washing up and enjoying his meal, Gu Yechen set out. Meanwhile, Ning Qinshu felt a pang of discomfort witnessing her friend's treatment of Gu Yechen. Holding a few of Gu Yechen's hair strands, she contemplated using Jiang Qingyan's hair to conduct a paternity test, curious to determine if they were siblings, for they bore no resemblance to one another. At the British-style mansion, Gu Yechen arrived at the sales office. As soon as he entered, several salespeople flocked to him, fully aware of his reputation. One salesperson eagerly inquired, "Mr. Gu, are you here to purchase a property today?" Gu Yechen nodded slightly, stating, "I wish to buy a spacious flat for a friend. Is Liangxi not here?" Upon hearing Gu Yechen specifically mention Liangxi, the salespeople's faces fell. Just then, Liangxi emerged from the restroom, and their eyes met. "Mr. Gu, are you looking to buy a house?" she asked, surprised. "Yes," Gu Yechen replied, pointing at a building. "Please take me to see the flat." Liangxi nodded, excitement evident in her demeanor as she fetched the keys and guided him to the property. Gu Yechen called Zhang Yun, who arrived shortly thereafter. "Are you really going to buy?" Zhang Yun asked, astonished. She had assumed Gu Yechen was merely speaking out of whim, not anticipating he would genuinely proceed with the purchase. "Yes, you can live here. It's south conveniently close to me for when I wish to visit," Gu Yechen said with a calm smile. Tears welled in Zhang Yun's eyes, and amidst a myriad of unspoken words, a single kiss conveyed everything. The process of buying the house progressed smoothly, settling on a 2-layer duplex priced around 150 million, similar in layout to Ning Qinshu's, albeit on a lower floor. Gu Yechen suddenly had an idea and called Li Hu, sending him 5 photos with instructions to ensure their entry into the hospital for a few months. Today, he was to visit the school, as he had recently learned that his grades had been concealed. The principal had summoned him to the school after he discovered his results the previous night. Chapter 75, The Little Perfect Scorer, Not Worth Mentioning. After bidding farewell to Zhang Yun, Gu Yechen drove to school. 5 days had passed since the release of the college entrance examination results, and the concealed scores were gradually surfacing. Gu Yechen had checked his scores when they were first released, but he was unable to access them, so he paid little attention thereafter. In the principal's office, Chen Yuan sat at his desk, exuding an air of triumph, while Gu Yechen's homeroom teacher, Li Xiu, stood nearby. He was the last teacher to take over their class. Upon entering the office, Gu Yechen spotted Chen Yuan and said, "Old Chen, it feels like ages since we last met. You little rascal, daring to tease me." Chen Yuan replied with a laugh. "Li teacher, it's been a while. How have you been?" Gu Yechen smiled at his homeroom teacher. "Quite well, especially after learning about your examination results. I couldn't sleep." Li Xiu, around 30 and quite handsome, responded, "You must have checked your own scores, right?" Chen Yuan said, a grin spreading across his face as he looked at Gu Yechen. Gu Yechen nodded. "Who doesn't he know? I figured that hiding the scores wouldn't keep anyone from knowing. Now that they're out, it's just as I expected, perfect scores at the top. Indeed, a mere perfect scorer, hardly worth mentioning." Gu Yechen waved his hand dismissively, taking out 2 boxes of tea and placing them on the desk. "For you both, 1 box each. These tea leaves are irreplaceable." After opening the box, Chen Yuan found 5 tender green tea leaves inside, releasing a delightful aroma. "Can this be consumed? It hasn't even been roasted." He looked at Gu Yechen in surprise. Gu Yechen took a leaf, crushed it, and placed it in a teapot. As hot water was poured in, an exquisite fragrance filled the air. He poured a cup for both Chen Yuan and Li Xiu, gesturing for them to enjoy. Chen Yuan was pleased with Gu Yechen's generosity. "Please indulge yourselves." After tasting, both Chen Yuan and Li Xiu's eyes widened in astonishment. They were seasoned tea connoisseurs but had never encountered tea so uniquely exquisite. "Yechen, where did you obtain this tea? Is there more?" Chen Yuan inquired eagerly, having never tasted anything so delightful. "Just these 5 leaves. There's no more." Gu Yechen shook his head, plopping down onto the sofa as the office's air conditioning provided a comfortable ambience. "All right then, I'll savor it slowly," Chen Yuan replied, feeling a pang of regret for the generous offering. "Have you decided which school you'll attend?" Principal Chun and Li Xiu inquired, both observing Gu Yechen intently. "Qingbei University," Gu Yechen stated without hesitation. "That's a commendable choice." Given your capabilities, you could complete all your university courses in just one semester, Qin Yuan said with a smile. Perhaps not even that. If I could finish in one semester, it wouldn't be fitting for a perfect scorer like me, Gu Yechen declared, confident in his abilities. Haha. A fine lad indeed. Just a bit overly confident. Your future is bright. I only hope you don't squander your potential. Qin Yuan beamed with pride. For Gu Yechen was their first perfect scorer in Shanghai, a feat not yet achieved nationally, where the highest score had only reached 748. Of course, even if I don't attend university, I'll never worry about food or clothing. Gu Yechen smiled, radiating confidence and charm. He glanced at the time, indicating his intention to leave. Just then, a young woman entered. Her pure appearance, delicate brows, and snowy complexion made her the school's recognized beauty, Xia Yutong. At only 18, she stood tall and graceful, having achieved the highest score in her year until Gu Yechen's arrival pushed her to second place. Gu classmate, you're here too. Xia Yutong exclaimed in surprise, not expecting to find the boy who had dethroned her from her top rank. Gu Yechen nodded, offering her a warm smile. Hello. Gu Yechen extended his hand towards Xia Yutong. She reciprocated, captivated by his handsome features and radiant smile. Your timing is impeccable. You two are the pride of our school. Principal Qin chuckled, unable to contain his joy. Xia Yutong sensed something amiss in the principal's demeanor as she had come to discuss her score of 745, but now found Gu Yechen present as well. Her gaze shifted to him, filled with curiosity, knowing he must have done well. What was your score? She asked discreetly, anxious not to face another defeat. Not much, just 750. Gu Yechen replied candidly, with no hint of concealment. Xia Yutong sank onto the sofa, dismayed. I lost again. I'm 5 points behind you. She regarded Gu Yechen incredulously, feeling exasperated at having been bested twice. The principal chuckled, addressing Xia Yutong. Little Xia, you performed admirably as well. You're surely among the best in the nation. Don't lose heart. Keep striving. Xia Yutong, brimming with confidence, declared to Gu Yechen. Don't worry, I will surpass you next time. Gu Yechen nodded affirmatively, his thoughts already racing ahead. Rest assured, I will secure victory. An hour later, the principal briefed Gu Yechen and Xia Yutong on important matters before they departed. On the playground, Gu Yechen and Xia Yutong walked side by side, close enough that onlookers might mistake them for a couple in love. How did you suddenly become so formidable? I'm no match for you, Xia Yutong remarked, seated on the ground while Gu Yechen sat beside her. Perhaps I was reluctant to reveal my talents. You know how precarious my previous situation was. Had I not protected myself, I might not be here today. Gu Yechen paused before continuing. Thank you for your support. Without you, I wouldn't have made it this far. It's nothing. So, which school do you wish to attend? Xia Yutong asked, her eyes glimmering with anticipation. Qingbei University. That's my goal too. She exclaimed. I hope we meet there. I'll defeat you then. A sweet smile graced her lips, momentarily capturing Gu Yechen's attention. Great. I must be off now. My parents are here to pick me up. Gu Yechen nodded, needing to visit Hungrui Bank, where he was now the owner. It was time to make an appearance. He climbed into his sports car and drove away with a flourish. Chapter 76. Confrontation with Jiang Feng and Huangli. Hungrui Bank, situated at the heart of Shanghai City, stands as a bastion of the financial sector, surrounded by numerous financial institutions. Gu Yechen sped along in his Bugatti Veyron. With other vehicles hesitant to draw near, and at traffic lights, he was the center of attention. Many gazes were fixed upon his magnificent sports car. Gradually, he parked in a designated space at the bank's entrance before making his way inside. True to its reputation as the largest foreign bank, Hungrui Bank exuded an aura of grandeur. As Gu Yechen stood before it, he felt a powerful presence envelop him. Established as one of the earliest banks in China, Hungrui Bank was also the first joint stock bank in Shanghai City, playing a pivotal role during the initial stages of China's reform and opening up, reaping substantial rewards in the process. The bank flourished by supporting various industries during this transformative era, acquiring significant domestic assets. Upon noticing Gu Yechen's luxurious vehicle, the security personnel promptly approached him with utmost respect. He strode confidently into the bustling bank lobby, his tall and self-assured demeanor immediately drawing the attention of many. The hall was alive with activity, people engaged in various transactions amidst a cacophony of sounds. After entering the bank, Gu Yechen headed directly towards the chairman's office, the system having already paved the way for him. Just as he was about to swipe his card for the exclusive elevator, a familiar voice caught his ear. He glanced into a reception room where several individuals were gathered, including Jiang Feng, Huang Li, and a few unfamiliar faces, engaged in hushed conversation. What are they discussing? Gu Yechen inquired of the system. They are deliberating the potential union of Jiang Qingyan and Mo Ziyu. The young man is Mo Ziyu, the second son of the Mo family, known for his arrogance and debauchery. He has previously assaulted numerous young women, evading punishment due to his powerful lineage. Receiving only a few days of detention, the system speculates that should Jiang Qingyan marry him, her fate would be dire. Without hesitation, Gu Yechen pushed the door open. No one is qualified to impose their will upon his elder sister. Who are you? Mo Ziyu glared at Gu Yechen, irritation evident in his eyes. He despised being interrupted, especially in such an important conversation. Having encountered Jiang Qingyan before, he considered her the most beautiful woman he had ever seen, earning her the title of the top beauty of Shanghai City. Upon learning of the potential marriage proposal from the Jiang family, he had already envisioned scenarios of dominance over her. Now, someone dared to intrude? Gu Yechen regarded him with silence before turning his attention to Jiang Feng and Huang Li. Madam Huang, let me be unequivocally clear. If you dare to push my sister towards this union, I will ensure that you find it impossible to remain in Shanghai City. It appears my words have not resonated with you. Gu Yechen spoke in a calm yet foreboding tone, akin to the stillness before a storm. She is my daughter. She will do as I wish. The company's financial chain is severed, and only the Mo family is willing to assist the Jiang group in this crisis. As the eldest daughter, it is her duty to shoulder this responsibility, Huang Li retorted, her voice laced with anger, creating a palpable tension in the reception room. Gu Yechen stepped closer, looking down at her with an icy glare that seemed ready to unleash a tempest. If you possess the courage, utter another word. She should be prepared to make sacrifices for the Jiang family. The Mo family is a prestigious household in Shanghai City. Marrying their second son is a privilege. How dare she refuse? Huang Li continued, unyielding. Gu Yechen's expression darkened. With a swift motion, he struck Huang Li across the face. To ensure her safety, he wielded only a fraction of his strength, sending her sprawling. Blood seeped from her lips, her face swelling as she felt the sting of the blow. You ungrateful wretch. How dare you strike me? Have you forgotten who birthed you? You would raise your hand against your own parents. Huang Li's eyes burned with fury as she stared down Gu Yechen, her desire to exact revenge palpable. No one had ever dared to lay a hand on her. Yet here she stood, twice assaulted by her own son. I apologize, I have no recollection of that. You are not my parents, Gu Yechen replied coolly. Jiang Feng looked at Gu Yechen, his voice hoarse. The company desperately needs capital infusion. If you can provide 1 billion, I will consider this matter resolved. If not, you are to leave. Gu Yechen glanced at Jiang Feng, a sardonic smile gracing his lips. The esteemed director was indeed remarkable, willing to barter his own daughter. He pointed an accusing finger at Mo Ziyu. Do you not know who he is? You wish to marry my sister to him? Dream on. As long as I am here, that shall never happen. Growing increasingly incensed, Gu Yechen delivered another strike to both Huang Li and Jiang Feng, this time with greater force. Huang Li was rendered unconscious, and Jiang Feng coughed up blood, his already weakened state exacerbated by the assault. Do you dare to cause a scene within Hungrui Bank? You must truly wish for your demise. Mo Ziyu mocked, his gaze filled with disdain, as if observing a fool. It was common knowledge that one should not stir trouble within Hungrui Bank, yet here stood someone who dared to strike. Pressing a button, within moments, a dozen security personnel burst into the reception room, wielding clubs. His anger flared. Jiang Qingyan, the city's most beautiful woman, had been his. Yet this interloper had disrupted his plans, which had seemed so certain. This individual has assaulted the chairman and his wife of the Jiang group. Break his limbs and dispose of him, Mo Ziyu ordered nonchalantly. Gu Yechen paused, taken aback. Was Mo Ziyu truly this powerful within his own company? Could he command others so effortlessly? Where did he acquire the wealth to invest such sums into the Jiang group? This was absurd. Fueled by indignation, Gu Yechen struck Mo Ziyu, sending him crashing to the ground, blood spilling from his lips. Who gave you the audacity to speak here? Shaking off his hand, he turned to the security personnel. Do you wish to try your luck as well? What are you waiting for? Attack him. I will reward anyone who can bring him down with 1 million. Mo Ziyu's eyes narrowed as he registered Gu Yechen's defiance. In Shanghai City, few dare to challenge him, especially after discovering his Mo family lineage. The mention of 1 million ignited the security personnel, their resolve renewed. No longer hesitating, they charged toward Gu Yechen, driven by the allure of wealth. Chapter 77. A resounding blow to the Mo family. It seems that a thorough rectification is in order. Gu Yechen sighed, narrowing his eyes, and boldly advanced into the fray, as if traversing an uninhabited realm. Although he endured a couple of blows, they were trivial compared to his current physique of 69 points. Gu Yechen directed his gaze toward the individual who had struck him, approaching step by step. The security guard, now seated on the ground, felt as though he had encountered a ghost. Gu Yechen crouched before the guard, observing him closely, and remarked, "You appear quite adept at fighting." As soon as he finished speaking, he delivered a punch to the guard's chest, knocking him unconscious. A preliminary assessment suggested that 2 ribs were likely broken. Gu Yechen dusted off his hands and proceeded toward Mo Ziyu, only to be obstructed by a middle-aged man, approximately 50 years of age. The man, of unremarkable appearance and sun-kissed skin, clearly bore the marks of exposure to the elements, and his arms and fingers hinted at a life of martial training. Wang Zhong. Incapacitate him. Mo Ziyu glared at Gu Yechen, fury radiating from him. Humph. Gu Yechen scoffed, disregarding Wang Zhong's obstruction. I can see you've trained hard to reach this level. If you wish to avoid being crippled, step aside. Otherwise, you shall meet your demise. Gu Yechen's cold gaze locked onto Wang Zhong, who was taken aback by the fleeting glimmer of murderous intent in Gu Yechen's eyes. He instinctively took a small step back, leaving Mozu in a state of shock. Do you intend to stop me? Gu Yechen's voice was icy as he regarded Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong ceased his chatter and lunged at Gu Yechen, his palm slicing through the air like a blade. Gu Yechen was momentarily surprised but quickly sidestepped the attack. In that instant, Wang Zhong aimed a kick at him. Regaining his composure, Gu Yechen bent his left knee to meet Wang Zhong's advancing right leg. With a swift motion, he delivered a powerful punch to Wang Zhong, exerting all his strength. He could afford to hold back against others, but not against this opponent, who was formidable yet ultimately no match for him. Wang Zhong's chest was wide open, and as Gu Yechen's fist hurtled toward him, he realized it was too late to evade. He was sent crashing into the wall, collapsing to the ground, blood spurting from his mouth. Your strength has surprisingly reached the level of a fourth-tier martial artist, Wang Zhong exclaimed, before spitting out another mouthful of blood. You have won. With that, he fell unconscious. Gu Yechen approached and decisively crippled Wang Zhong's leg. He had warned him to stand down. There was no reasoning with someone intent on self-destruction. Gu Yechen spared his life but rendered him useless, which was more than sufficient. Yet, what did he mean by mentioning a third-tier martial artist? Could it be related to his own physical enhancement? Mozu was taken aback to see Wang Zhong defeated. Wang Zhong had been assigned to him by his father and was reputed to be a Huang-tier expert, yet he proved utterly inadequate against the young man. After dealing with Wang Zhong, Gu Yechen approached Mozu, crouching before him. A foul odor wafted up from beneath him. The once arrogant Mozu had now soiled his pants, a stream of urine flowing freely. Had he been so frightened? Gu Yechen was astonished that such a boastful man could be reduced to this. You wish to marry my sister? Gu Yechen's tone was calm, yet it carried the weight of a death knell, leaving Mozu at a loss for words. Gu Yechen delivered a resounding slap to his face. Speak. Have you lost your tongue? Weren't you quite bold just a moment ago? I absolutely have no such intentions. It was the Jiang family who insisted I do this. They claimed Jiang Qingyan has feelings for me, hence before he could finish. Gu Yechen knocked him unconscious with a single punch. My sister is not someone a toad like you could ever hope to associate with. Gu Yechen wiped his hands clean and headed for the exit. Jiang Feng and Huang Li had already been taken to the hospital. At that moment, a well-dressed man, impeccably groomed and with a respectable demeanor, stood before Gu Yechen. He appeared to be around 35 years old. Who permitted you to stir trouble at Hungrui Bank? He glanced toward the reception area, his expression one of surprise. Gu Yechen produced a card and handed it to him. Upon examining it, the man's demeanor shifted entirely, and he bowed respectfully to Gu Yechen. Rise. What is your name? Inform me of the current situation at the bank. After speaking, Gu Yechen strode toward the chairman's exclusive elevator, entering the office. Hello, I am Zhang Zhuojuan, currently serving as the vice president of Hungrui Bank. I graduated from the University of Pennsylvania in the United States with a degree in finance. Our bank is thriving, boasting the highest net profit among all banks, with user deposits reaching an astounding 40 trillion. Zhang Zhuojuan reported enthusiastically to Gu Yechen. 40 trillion? That is 60 trillion less than my own assets. Gu Yechen mused. Why is Mozu present at the company? His apparent position seems quite significant. Mozu lacks the requisite expertise. He was clandestinely placed here during the tenure of the previous chairman. He serves as the deputy director of the bank and often provides the Mo family with substantial benefits. Though everyone turns a blind eye, Zhang Zhuojuan expressed with frustration. Was this arrangement made by the previous chairman before his departure? Is it a deliberate setup? Gu Yechen queried, seizing the computer and issuing a statement. Mozu has abused his power, engaged in embezzlement and bribery, and has demonstrated gross incompetence, rendering him unfit to remain at Hungrui Bank. During his tenure, he has repeatedly violated regulations, misappropriated company funds, and confronted the new chairman, even attempting physical assault. He is hereby dismissed, and he shall be held accountable for the company's losses, including the Mo family's responsibility for the fund's whereabouts. Gu Yechen was resolute. The Mo family must return the money. Upon hearing news of Mozu's hospitalization, Mo was consumed with rage, viewing it as a blatant affront to the Mo family, which he would not tolerate. Sir, Hungrui Bank has dismissed the second young master and is pursuing accountability for him and the Mo Corporation. An anxious old steward reported to Modun. The steward understood Modun well. He was cunning, decisive, and ruthless in his methods. This is intolerable. Modun slammed his hand on the table, his fury palpable. He was curious about this new chairman. Furthermore, the guard you dispatched to protect the second young master, Wang Zhong, has been seriously injured and incapacitated. He did his best, the steward added cautiously. Provide him with a severance package and send him on his way. He is of no further use to us. The Mo family does not harbor idle personnel. Modun contemplated the matter carefully. They had secured over 200 billion in cash from Hungruei Bank, a considerable sum that even a company worth over a trillion might struggle to procure. It seemed time to arrange a meeting with the chairman. Mo Dian gazed toward the distant horizon, murmuring to himself. Chapter 78. I accept your resignation. How much capital do we have in dealings with the Mo family? Gu Yechen sat in his office, clad in black athletic wear, a stark contrast to the formality of a chairman. There are approximately 50 billion in loans, over 20 billion of which were maneuvered by MOZU. The higher-ups approved his actions without even conducting a risk assessment, Zhang Zhuojuan replied, shaking his head, clearly disapproving of such practices. Notify all shareholders to convene a board meeting. I have an announcement to make. Gu Yechen pressed a button on his secretary's phone, his voice calm, yet tinged with an imperceptible anger. Chairman. You don't have a secretary yet. The last one left with the former chairman, Zhang Zhuojuan nervously explained, sensing the young man's ire. Gu Yechen sighed, frustrated that his carefully cultivated emotions had been disrupted. Go inform all shareholders that we will meet in 1 hour. Everyone must attend. Those who fail to show will not be spared my wrath. Zhang Zhuojuan trembled, taken aback by the teenager's formidable presence, and hurried off to relay the message. An hour later, in the conference room, all shareholders had assembled, sitting in neat rows. They engaged in hushed conversations, having never seen the new chairman. Only knowing that someone had acquired 55% of Hungruei Bank, instantly becoming the largest shareholder. At that moment, Gu Yechen strode into the room, causing the attendees to exchange glances. A man in his 50s inquired, "Are you the chairman's secretary? Where is the chairman?" Gu Yechen ignored him and took a seat in the foremost chair. The man who had spoken was left dumbfounded, and the shareholders were similarly astonished. "You are the new chairman?" The middle-aged man stammered, anxiety creeping into his voice. Gu Yechen radiated confidence and a unique aura, although merely 18. Wealth had transformed him. "Indeed I am. Please, have a seat." Gu Yechen gestured for them to settle down. "Ladies and gentlemen, today's board meeting concerns 3 matters. He surveyed the room, his tone eerily calm. "Firstly, I wish to introduce myself, as I am now the chairman of Hungruei Bank. I expect each of you to perform your duties without any subterfuge. Secondly, I intend to conduct a thorough investigation of the bank's internal affairs, as I suspect there are numerous parasites within. Should I uncover any wrongdoing, I will not hesitate to prosecute, regardless of your positions, including shareholders. You will be required to relinquish your shares and depart. Otherwise, you may find yourselves confined within these walls." The shareholders exchanged uneasy glances, their faces paling. At their level, corruption was a common malady, albeit to varying degrees. "Chairman Gu, I assent your approach somewhat excessive. This bank cannot be solely under your control." A shareholder in his 50s challenged. Gu Yechen regarded him coldly, utilizing his discerning gaze. Name, Feng Chong. Age, 58. Constitution, 23. Poor. Health, heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, brain tumor, late-stage lung cancer. Experience, once promising, Feng lost his way and embezzled over 100 billion within a year at Hungruei Bank. Gu Yechen was taken aback by the man's numerous ailments, pondering if his heart might fail him in that very moment. "Mr. Feng, I suggest you calm yourself. A heart attack would be most unfortunate." Gu Yechen feigned concern. Feng Chong trembled, visibly shaken. "Thirdly, this company does not belong to any one individual. Anyone who dares to appoint incompetent personnel will find themselves dismissed alongside them." Gu Yechen's gaze swept across the room, noting the discomfort etched on their faces. Now to the matter at hand. MOZU, a man devoid of any capability, has been improperly placed within our company. Who is responsible for this arrangement? Step forward if you dare. Silence enveloped the room. Excellent. Should I discover the truth, I will hold MOZU accountable for all his misdeeds, ensuring he serves a lifetime behind bars, Gu Yechen declared. His smile chilling, his tone menacing. Feng Chong stammered. "I had no idea he was such a person. I may not have contributed significantly to the company, but I have put in effort. Do you not fear alienating the veterans of this company? If you do not trust me, then I shall resign," he exclaimed, regretting his outburst almost immediately. "Is it truly that severe? Old Feng, why are you so peculiar today?" someone inquired. "Indeed, this company cannot do without you. Calm down." Several shareholders attempted to placate Feng. "Very well, Mr. Feng. I accept your resignation. I will acquire your shares at market value and thank you for your 30 years of support to Hungruei Bank. Furthermore, your benefits will be revoked, and you shall face legal repercussions. During your tenure, you accrued substantial benefits, facilitating backdoor dealings with the Mo family, resulting in indirect losses exceeding 200 billion. You will be held accountable for this sum. Prepare for a court summons," Gu Yechen stated, devoid of any compassion, for such individuals warranted none. Feng Chong, upon hearing this, collapsed, requiring immediate medical attention. "Notify the Mo family that Hungruei Bank has detected operational deficiencies within their company and that they must repay all loans promptly. Furthermore, I want to press charges against MOZU for misappropriating bank funds," Gu Yechen instructed Zhang Zhuojuan. "Understood, Chairman." "Wait, Chairman, Isn't this a bit excessive? Gu Yechen furrowed his brow. Do you have ties with the Mo family? The man fell silent, realizing that any further comment could result in his dismissal. And now, this meeting is adjourned, Gu Yechen declared, exiting the room, leaving the shareholders in disarray. At the Starlight Orphanage, construction was proceeding smoothly, utilizing only the finest materials. The main structure had been erected, with the basic framework complete. Aside from the dormitory and dining hall, the majority was finished. Gu Yechen visited the original orphanage, as the new facility would not be ready for occupancy for some time. Upon his arrival, several children rushed toward him, calling out brother. Gu Yechen felt a surge of joy. Go play in the other rooms. Do not wander outside, Qin Lan instructed the children. Xiao Chun, please sit. She gestured to a chair. Seeing Qin Lan, Gu Yechen felt a pang of sorrow. Decades of youth had been devoted to the orphanage. Director Qin, how is your health? He inquired, glancing at her previously fractured leg. Nothing serious. I just need to rest for a while. I should be fine in a couple of months. She smiled reassuredly. The individuals who harmed you have been apprehended. They will face justice, rest assured, Gu Yechen replied with a smile. After enjoying dinner at the orphanage, Gu Yechen prepared to leave. Hello? He answered a call from Tong Wenwen, perplexed. Mr. Gu, could you come to the blossoming KTV and rescue me? I feel quite warm. I think something is wrong after drinking a glass of alcohol. Her voice slurred slightly. Okay, I'll be there shortly, Gu Yechen replied, driving to blossoming KTV. He called Li Hu, explaining the situation and asking for assistance, knowing that wealth could facilitate many things. Blossoming KTV was one of the premier entertainment venues in Shanghai City. Well-equipped and owned by a man surnamed Wang. Chapter 79. The incident involving Tong Wenwen. Gu Yechen sensed that the situation was far from ordinary and rushed to the extravagant entertainment venue at the fastest pace possible. Tong Wenwen and her friends had ventured out to attend a gathering, having graduated 2 years prior without a proper reunion. However, they encountered a few male classmates along the way, and being familiar faces, they thought little of it and decided to reserve a private room. As the gathering progressed, the door to their room was abruptly pushed open, and 5 or 6 individuals entered. Their hair was dyed in vibrant colors, and their attire was peculiar, exuding an ominous aura. Upon arrival, each of them seized a bottle of liquor, appearing overly familiar with the male classmates, while the 4 girls remained strangers to them. The newcomers brazenly scrutinized Tong Wenwen and her friends, displaying a lack of decorum. Tong Wenwen explained the gravity of the situation to her companions and suggested they leave to prevent any irreparable consequences. However, as they attempted to exit, they were restrained, and the girls were coerced into drinking with the intruders. When Tong Wenwen sought to call for help, her phone was snatched away, and she received a slap, with their pleas falling on deaf ears as they were not permitted to leave. All their phones were confiscated, and each girl was forced to down a drink. They were astonished that their former classmates would engage in such despicable behavior. As the alcohol coursed through their systems, dizziness set in. Tong Wenwen realized that the beverage was no ordinary drink. Her body felt feverish, initially weak, but then an overwhelming thirst took hold. Tong Wenwen had a habit of carrying 2 phones, so she concocted an excuse to visit the restroom. The group of men dismissed her absence, believing they had already drugged her and merely awaited the effects. She fervently hoped that Gu Yechen would arrive soon, otherwise, her purity would be at stake. Gu Yechen, amidst the bustling traffic, felt helpless, realizing he could only wait unless he could fly to her side. He pulled out his phone and called Suhu. Hello? Have you arrived yet? Rest assured, Mr. Gu, I am already here. Moreover, the extravagant entertainment venue is under our boss's domain. I will head over now and await your arrival, Suhu replied, fully aware of the situation's severity. He then contacted Wang Long. Suhu, what is it? Wang Long inquired, comfortably sipping tea while watching television, thoroughly enjoying his day. Boss, there's something urgent to discuss. A friend of Mr. Gu's is at our venue. She just called Mr. Gu for help and appears to have been drugged. Mr. Gu instructed me to assist her, and he is en route. Suhu conveyed the pressing matter. Wang Long, infuriated, cursed under his breath. He had warned against provoking Gu Yechen, yet trouble had erupted within his own establishment. He promptly called a Biao, who primarily operated within the entertainment venue. Suhu, accompanied by a dozen individuals, arrived at the scene just as a Biao and his men, armed with baseball bats, were also present. A Biao, let us move quickly, Suhu urged, and the two made their way to the site of the disturbance. Tong Wenwen. Are you there? I'm terrified. They're calling out from outside. Tong Wenwen's voice was tinged with confusion and fear. Strange. Why has that girl been in the restroom for so long? Her 3 friends were already intoxicated, while the men grew increasingly eager. A man approached the restroom door and knocked. Hey, beautiful. What is taking so long? We're waiting for you to come out and join the fun. Gu Yechen, listening through the phone, heard the man's taunts directed at Tong Wenwen. Do not fear. I am on my way, and I've sent someone ahead. They will arrive shortly. Seeing that Tong Wenwen did not respond, the man kicked the restroom door open, revealing her sitting on the floor, disoriented. Little sister, let me take care of you, all right? Tong Wenwen, devoid of strength to resist, looked up at the lewd man in terror. Don't touch me. Go away, or my people will make you regret it. Is that so? I would love to see that. The man scoffed, noticing her phone and hanging up the call. Gu Yechen, now devoid of contact with Tong Wenwen, wore a grim expression, his fury palpable. Stuck in traffic, he could do nothing but place his hopes in Su Hu. At that moment, Zheng Hua dragged Tong Wenwen from the restroom. Dressed exquisitely, she was a sight to behold, stirring desires he had never experienced with such beauty. As she was pulled out, disbelief washed over her. Her friends were incapacitated, and a group of men began to violate them, pushing boundaries further. Zheng Hua embraced Tong Wenwen from behind. As she struggled feebly, her efforts proving futile. The girls, drugged and unable to resist, remained mentally aware of their horrifying reality, tears streaming down their faces. Fully aware that they were on the brink of being defiled by these beasts. Their clothing was disheveled. Despite their attempts to fight back, it only fueled the men's desires. Little beauty, tonight, I will make you lose yourself in ecstasy, ensuring you never forget this night. Zheng Hua leered, having awaited this moment for far too long. He tossed Tong Wenwen onto the sofa and lunged at her. In a desperate act, she bent her knees, driving them into his vital area. Zheng Hua held in agony, and in a fit of rage, he slapped her across the face, leaving her cheeks swollen and bloodied. As he prepared to pounce again, fate intervened. The door burst open, and a Biao, accompanied by over 30 men, stormed into the room, witnessing the horrifying scene. The women were all intoxicated, with only one maintaining a sliver of awareness. 3 of them bore disheveled clothing. Had they not arrived in time, catastrophe would have struck. How dare you do this in our establishment? Everyone needs to get the hell out of here. A Biao bellowed, but his words fell on deaf ears. He seized a baseball bat and struck one of the men's arms, shattering it. The man, initially intoxicated, became instantly sober, screaming in pain as he realized the gravity of the situation. The other men quickly retreated to a corner, cowering in fear. Tong Wenwen gazed at the newcomers, her eyes filled with despair. At that moment, Su Hu, feeling a sense of urgency, called out, "Who is Tong Wenwen?" Chapter 80. How dare you lay a hand on my woman? Upon hearing those words, Tong Wenwen trembled violently, her gaze shifting towards Su Hu. "It is I, Tong Wenwen." A wave of relief washed over her as she recalled Gu Yechen's assurance that he had sent someone ahead. Summoning all her strength, she attempted to approach Su Hu. Yet her legs felt heavy, burdened by an overwhelming desire for fulfillment that she could scarcely contain. Observing her struggle, Abayo discreetly signaled to one of his subordinates, who promptly rushed over to support Tong Wenwen. The sight of their approach intensified her urgency. "Lock me in the restroom," she implored, fearing that she might disappoint Gu Yechen if she succumbed to her desires. With Abayo's consent, they confined her to the restroom. Abayo, with a sly smile, approached Zheng Hua, delivering a swift kick to his chest, then crouching to meet his gaze, exclaiming, "You are truly audacious to engage in such conduct amidst the splendor of our establishment. You are the first to dare such a thing here. Who would have thought someone would challenge us in our own domain? Impressive indeed." Yet, his bravado was quickly overshadowed by the gravity of the situation. Zheng Hua had foolishly sought to engage with Miss Tong. Abayo mused that the consequences would not be easily dismissed. Su Hu chuckled, "Do not think your father's name, Zheng Yuan, will shield you. Even if Zheng Qinggong himself were here, it would matter not. You have crossed a line with the wrong people." With that, Su Hu delivered a resounding slap to Zheng Hua, drawing blood from the corner of his mouth. It dawned on Zheng Hua the magnitude of his folly. These men were not ordinary, and his father was merely a supplier in Shanghai City. He envisioned his impending doom, realizing he had not only jeopardized himself but also his entire family. Desperate for mercy, he knelt before them, striking his own face in a frantic plea for forgiveness. Abayo and Su Hu, men of considerable stature, remained unfazed by his antics. Noticing Zheng Hua's diminished resolve, Abayo swiftly retaliated with a slap, reminding him of his place. Meanwhile, the girls who had been drugged began to regain their senses, bewildered by the unfolding scene. "Fear not, we are here to rescue you," Su Hu proclaimed, albeit his scarred visage instilled a sense of dread. "Thank you. Have you seen Tong Wenwen? Where is she?" One girl inquired anxiously. "Her situation is different. She has been administered a potent aphrodisiac and requires intimate contact to alleviate her condition. Even a hospital visit would merely mitigate her symptoms. Hence, she has sequestered herself in the restroom," Su Hu explained, his gaze sweeping over the others. "Get over here." Su Hu's commanding voice resonated with authority, prompting those in the corner to tremble and kneel before Abayo and Su Hu. Abayo, treating the moment as a mere exercise, slapped them all, reveling in their disarray. As they lay prostrate, their faces swollen and bruised, the girls watched, a mixture of satisfaction and trepidation coursing through them. Just then, Gu Yechen arrived. Striding purposefully towards the private room, he observed several security personnel at the entrance and a throng of individuals encircling a group of kneeling men, all bearing battered faces. "Where is she?" Gu Yechen demanded upon reaching Su Hu. "Mr. Gu, you have arrived. Miss Tong has been administered a strong aphrodisiac. Fortunately, we arrived in time. She has locked herself in the restroom to prevent losing control," Su Hu replied, relieved by Gu Yechen's presence, uncertain of how long Tong Wenwen could withstand her predicament. Gu Yechen hurried to the restroom, calling softly, Wenwen. Open the door. I'm here, it's Gu Yechen. As she heard his voice, a wave of relief washed over Tong Wenwen, and she leaned against the wall, opening the door. Upon entering, Gu Yechen's heart ignited with fury at the sight before him. Tong Wenwen's face was swollen and her condition dire. He quickly supported her, using his abilities to assess her state, relieved to find no lasting harm. Yet, the drug's effects surged within her, and she could no longer restrain herself. In a moment of unbridled passion, she pressed her lips against his, succumbing to the drug's influence. As the restroom became a scene of fervent intimacy, 2.5 hours later, they emerged. Tong Wenwen regaining some clarity, her earlier recklessness filling her with embarrassment. The poison within you has yet to dissipate. Allow me to assist you. Gu Yechen tenderly stroked her flushed, swollen cheek. He produced silver needles and administered several acupuncture points, swiftly alleviating her symptoms. For much of the toxin had been expended during their encounter. Stepping out of the restroom, the gathered crowd had become aware of the recent events, and Tong Wenwen, upon seeing her friends, was overcome with emotion. Gu Yechen approached the kneeling men, pointing at Tong Wenwen, his voice icy and menacing. Who dared to harm her? Silence ensued as none dared to respond. Gu Yechen's gaze hardened, locking onto Zheng Hua. Your audacity is remarkable. You dare lay a hand on my woman? His voice chilled the air around them. With a swift kick, he sent Zheng Hua sprawling several meters away, then stepped forward to crush his thigh with a single blow, shattering the bone. Zheng Hua gasped in shock, unprepared for the severity of the young man's retribution. Yet, this was merely the beginning of Gu Yechen's wrath. Chapter 81. A billion for a life. Gu Yechen cast a cold gaze upon the individuals before him, having mentally condemned this group to death countless times. He turned his attention to the writhing Zheng Hua on the ground, mercilessly crushing his other thigh bone with a decisive stomp. I hear you often indulge in such vile actions? How dare you set your sights on my woman? She is far beyond the reach of scum like you. With those words, Gu Yechen delivered a brutal kick, obliterating Zheng Hua's manhood. If one desires to commit such acts, they must be prepared to face the consequences. Zheng Hua promptly succumbed to unconsciousness from the excruciating pain. Gu Yechen approached Tong Wenwen, enveloping her in his embrace while softly whispering, I have arrived too late. Tears instantly streamed down Tong Wenwen's face as she fervently shook her head. Mr. Gu, you arrived just in time. Otherwise, I would have departed from this world. I am truly grateful for your timely rescue. Gently caressing her hair, Gu Yechen reassured her, You are my woman. How could I possibly abandon you? He urged, Come back with me tonight, and I shall tend to your wounds. Tong Wenwen nodded in agreement, and Gu Yechen instructed the others to wait outside. Brother Su, inquire whether your boss dares to take on a substantial task. I wish for them all to perish, Gu Yechen stated matter-of-factly. Upon hearing this, Su Hu felt a wave of anxiety wash over him. Gu Yechen was genuinely furious. He quickly dialed Wang Long. Hello, boss. The situation has been resolved, but Mr. Gu wishes to know if you are willing to accept a significant assignment. He demands the demise of that entire group. Wang Long, taken aback at home, exclaimed. This is rather ruthless. He then asked, what price can he offer? If the remuneration is suitable, it may be feasible. His tone was unruffled, as if the lives of several individuals held little weight. Mr. Gu, our boss inquires about the compensation. Su Hu said, his excitement palpable. 100 million each. I want them all to vanish from this world entirely, Gu Yechen articulated, enunciating each word with precision. Boss, Mr. Gu demands 100 million per person. And there are 13 individuals present, Su Hu relayed, urgency creeping into his voice. Wang Long was astounded, realizing the scale of Gu Yechen's demands and promptly instructed. Accept the job, execute it discreetly, leaving no trace. 13 individuals equate to 1 billion. There is no reason to decline. Once Wang Long hung up, he felt invigorated. Mr. Gu, we have accepted your request. You may leave. We will ensure they each descend into hell. Su Hu replied with a smile, clearly excited. Gu Yechen nodded. Send me the video afterward. If satisfactory, I shall add another 100 million. With that, he turned and departed. He instructed Su Hu to arrange transportation for Tong Wenwen and her 3 classmates back home before driving off to the British mansion with Tong Wenwen. Su Hu exchanged glances with a biao and set up the camera, grinning at the kneeling individuals, lamenting their ill fortune and advising them not to be so ungrateful in their next lives. Big brother, please spare us, Zheng Hua pleaded, while the others trembled in fear. Fully aware of the conversation's outcome, their spirits crushed. A biao dragged the individuals into the restroom, systematically disposing of them. The horrific scenes enough to send chills down one's spine. Gu Yechen drove forward, his attention focused ahead. Tong Wenwen, uncertain, gazed at his profile. Mr. Gu, I am so sorry. I won't do it again. Gu Yechen held her small hand, his eyes fixed ahead. This is not your fault. You simply lack experience with the world's cruel realities. Just be cautious in the future. He bore no resentment toward her, for she had done her utmost to preserve her innocence, never betraying him. As they slowly entered the villa, Gu Yechin guided Tong Wenwen to sit on the sofa while he retrieved a medical kit to tend to her wounds. Tong Wenwen's phone rang, and upon answering, she heard her friend's voice. Hey, Wenwen, are you alright? The concern from her companions brought her comfort. I'm fine. Have you all reached home? Yes, we just arrived. We're temporarily staying together, her friend replied, easing Tong Wenwen's worries. By the way, Wenwen, who was the person that saved you? He said you were his woman. He is so handsome. One of her friends inquired, leaving Tong Wenwen at a loss for words. Is he your boyfriend? I've never heard you mention him. Her friend pressed on, but Tong Wenwen felt exhausted by the questioning. He is my friend, she finally managed to say. Gu Yechin remained silent, observing Tong Wenwen as she spoke on the phone, which was on speaker, allowing him to overhear the relentless inquiries. Tong Wenwen eventually hung up, and Gu Yechin gently embraced her, softly asking, Does it hurt? Feeling warmth in her heart, Tong Wenwen shook her head. No, it's fine. Gu Yechin lifted her into his arms, carrying her to the master bedroom's bathroom for a bath. Tong Wenwen's heart raced at the thought of such an affluent and handsome man helping her bathe. Half an hour later, they fell asleep in each other's arms, with a subtle smile gracing Tong Wenwen's lips throughout the night. The next morning, Gu Yechin noticed Tong Wenwen still asleep and placed a tender kiss on her forehead before leaving to freshen up. By the time Tong Wenwen awoke, it was already 8:30. After breakfast, Gu Yechin took her out, intending to buy her a car for convenience. At the Ferrari dealership, Gu Yechin looked at Tong Wenwen and smiled. Come, my princess, choose one for yourself. Tong Wenwen was taken aback, her heart fluttering at being called my princess and given the freedom to choose a car. Could this truly be happening? She had always dreamed of owning a vehicle, but her meager salary made such aspirations seem unattainable. Gu Yechin affectionately ruffled her hair with a soft smile. Go ahead, glancing around to ensure no one was watching. Tong Wenwen stood on her tiptoes and planted a quick kiss on Gu Yechin's lips before scurrying away. Curious, Gu Yechin followed her to where she had stopped in front of a Ferrari F8, the latest convertible model. Good taste, he remarked, wrapping his arm around her shoulder as they admired the car together. To him, the F8 was an exquisite choice, even more aesthetically pleasing than the SF90. Tong Wenwen beamed. Of course. Do you doubt what I do? Then it shall be this one, Gu Yechin declared, proceeding to finalize the payment effortlessly. Just then, his phone rang. It was Zhang Zhuojuan. Chairman, the young master of the Mo family, Mo Yihan, wishes to meet with you. I am unable to make a decision on this matter. What are your thoughts? Zhang Zhuojuan asked, uncertain of how to proceed. Have him wait in the conference room. I will join shortly, Gu Yechin replied, playfully brushing Tong Wenwen's nose. I have matters to attend to, but I will seek you out when I have the opportunity. Tong Wenwen nodded, planting a kiss on Gu Yechin's lips before he turned and left. Chapter 82. Only the dead do not speak at Hengrui Bank, in the conference room. Mo Yihan sat upright in his chair. His features were striking, handsome, yet his brow was furrowed, radiating an aura of anger. He had just received a notification that Hengrui Bank had severed their loan funding chain and demanded the immediate repayment of 500 billion that had already been loaned. This sum had been invested, making it impossible for him to retrieve. A withdrawal would sever the financial chain instantaneously, plunging the MO Group into a significant crisis, as their liquidity was already constrained and funds could not be mobilized. He had explored loan options with other banks, but upon learning of MO Group's predicament, none were willing to extend credit, which irked him, though he concealed his frustration. Glancing at his watch, he noted it was 9:30. He had been waiting for half an hour, the longest he had ever endured. Time was of the essence for him. He could afford to be late, but others could not. Just as he contemplated leaving, Gu Yechin pushed open the conference room door and strode in. I apologize for the delay, he said, gesturing for Mo Yihan to sit. Mo Yihan's expression was slightly unnatural. He was accustomed to others waiting on him, and this was the first time he had waited so long. He resumed his seat, observing Gu Yechin, who appeared even more handsome, exuding a unique charisma. Mr. Mo, may I inquire what brings you here? Gu Yechin's gaze sharpened as he looked at Mo Yihan. Mr. Gu, it puzzles me why our collaboration, which was proceeding so well, has suddenly been interrupted. Mo Yihan sought to probe Gu Yechin for information. Gu Yechin's pupils darkened slightly, his scrutinizing gaze revealing that he was aware of the situation. The Mo family could hardly be oblivious to it. Mo Yihan's inquiry seemed like a mere test of his thoughts. Mr. Mo, you genuinely do not know? Gu Yechin narrowed his eyes, appraising Mo Yihan. Compared to Mo Ziyu, Gu was more composed, meticulous in his actions, and possessed a profound depth. Is there perhaps a misunderstanding between our companies? Could you enlighten me? Mo Yihan understood the situation but was reluctant to articulate it. If this is how you wish to proceed, then we have nothing further to discuss, Gu Yechin declared, rising to leave. Wait, Mr. Gu. Our company cannot possibly raise such a substantial sum at present. Might you grant us a few years' grace? Mo Yihan's expression was inscrutable as he continued to observe Gu Yechin's demeanor. Gu Yechin remained unfazed, revealing no useful information. Hungrui Bank has formally filed a lawsuit against the MO Group and MOZU. As the chairman of Hungrui Bank, I will not allow anyone to impede its development. Whether you repay or not, it amounts to seizing your company's assets, which might even yield a profit for me. Gu Yechen's cold gaze filled the room with an icy tension. Mo Ihan stood, fastening a button on his suit. Until we meet again. With that, he exited the room. Before stepping out, he cast one last penetrating glance at Gu Yechen, turning away with a cold smile. Only the dead do not speak. Meanwhile, at the Mo residence, Mo Dun sat on the sofa, his expression grim. The news circulating online was unmistakably targeted, yet its source eluded him. What have you found? His tone was icy. And if he discovered who was behind it, he would not let them escape unscathed. Sir, we have investigated everywhere and everyone, yet found no connections. However, the housekeeper hesitated. What is it? Mo Dun's brow furrowed deeper, impatient for an answer. These reports seem to have appeared suddenly and spread rapidly. As if propelled by a mysterious force. Our team was unable to react in time, and attempts to purchase trending topics yielded no results. Mo Dun's face darkened further, his fist crashing into the sofa in anger. Who is behind this? Is it our competitors? If I find out, they will pay? That is a possibility, sir. The housekeeper replied, but it may also be other forces targeting us from the shadows. Mo Dun rose, pacing the living room, filled with rage and confusion. After years of striving in the business world, he never anticipated facing such challenges. Continue the investigation, we must uncover the mastermind. He gritted through clenched teeth. Simultaneously, he began to devise countermeasures, acutely aware that these negative reports could severely tarnish the Mo family's reputation. If not addressed promptly, the consequences could be dire. He resolved to convene an emergency meeting with family members and company executives to strategize. During the meeting, various opinions and strategies were presented. Yet Mo Dun realized these were merely temporary solutions. To resolve the issue thoroughly, the root cause must be identified. The weight of his concerns grew heavier as he monitored the unfolding situation, hoping to uncover leads. The shadowy figure behind the scenes seemed deeply hidden, eluding his grasp of the truth. Suddenly, a realization struck Mo Dun. At that moment, several police officers entered the Mo residence, displaying their credentials. Good day, Mr. Mo. I am Qin Feng, the captain of the Municipal Criminal Police. Your son, Mo Ziyu, is suspected of embezzling 250 billion from Hungrui Bank. We are here to arrest him. Before Mo Dun could respond, Qin Feng waved his hand, and several officers advanced into the Mo residence. Mo Dun attempted to intervene, but Qin Feng's gaze met his, saying, Mr. Mo, I advise you to refrain from interfering in matters that do not concern you. Upon hearing Qin Feng's words, Mo Dun halted in his tracks, realizing that the authorities were already aware of the situation. Meanwhile, Mo Ziyu was in his room, engrossed in a video game. What is wrong with you all? How can the support player be so reckless? Can't you play safely? He lay on his bed, his injuries nearly healed. Playing as Li Bai, his skills adequate. Even with 5 deaths attributed to his teammates, he managed to secure 2 kills and 1 assist, offering a glimmer of hope to the match. Why did you die again? If you can't play, just don't ruin the game for others. He yelled at his phone, frustrated by his teammates' incompetence. Just then, Chapter 83, Mo Ziyu is captured at that moment. Someone barged into the room. Get out. Can't you see I'm in the middle of a game? Mo Ziyu did not turn to look at the intruder, as he was engrossed in an intense team battle. They had just secured a dragon, and fortunately, the mid lane and the side lane players were skilled. Otherwise, he would have been unable to carry the team alone. The police paid no heed to his gaming endeavors. Mo Ziyu, you are under arrest. Someone has reported you for embezzling over 25 billion from Hungrui Bank. This is a serious criminal offense. Come with us. Qin Feng snatched his phone away and swiftly placed handcuffs on him. Mo Ziyu remained bewildered, only to be jolted by the sound of their crystal shattering. His spirits plummeted. He was taken away, and he quickly instructed his butler to call Ihan, explaining the situation and urging the legal team to prepare. They had to resolve this issue and extricate Ziyu, who was incarcerated due to the company's developments. Mo Ihan was on his way back to the company, contemplating how to address the situation when his phone rang. Hello? His voice was icy. Young master, something urgent has occurred. Second young master has been arrested by the police for allegedly misappropriating funds from Hungrui Bank. The master wants you to notify the legal team to be ready to bail him out. The butler's voice conveyed the gravity of the situation. I understand. Mo Ihan hung up, fatigue etched on his face. Meanwhile, after Mo Ihan's departure, Gu Yechen began to infiltrate Mo Ziyu's phone. He first called Mo Ziyu using a system-generated number before breaching his device. To his surprise, this spoiled rich kid had a phone adorned with a feminine aesthetic. Gu Yechen scoured the phone for useful information and stumbled upon WeChat chats and videos stored on the device. They revealed instances of Mo Ziyu coercing victims after assaulting them, threatening to retaliate against their families. There were nearly 30 victims, all subjected to his machinations. Upon glancing through the hard drive videos, Gu Yechen noted that most victims were young women aged 18 to 25, often drugged, and then subjected to further stimulants before being assaulted. Recalling the incident involving Tong 11, Gu Yechen seethed, "Let us see how you escape disgrace." He preserved all chat records and videos, subsequently exposing the incriminating evidence online. The edited video concealed the female victims, but showcased MO's use coercion. The revelations ignited a storm on the internet, with public backlash against the MO Group's products, leading protesters to brandish banners outside the company and even hurl feces at the MO residents. Upon hearing the news, MODUN experienced a spike in blood pressure. "Ungrateful son, how could I have given birth to such a wretch?" He was incensed, having just resolved one crisis, only to be hit with another. His phone rang, and he hesitated to answer. "Hello, MODUN, how do you educate your child? Look at what he's done. You want me to help you bail him out? Are you trying to kill me?" The vice mayor's voice was filled with frustration. "I had no idea, vice mayor. Is there any way to resolve this?" MODUN was taken aback. The vice mayor's expression was grim. "I can't assist you. This incident has gained too much attention. You should know by now that your son is finished." After hanging up, MODUN slumped onto the sofa, his expression dark. His son was practically ruined. Suddenly, a thought struck him. The root of all this turmoil began with the Jiang family's proposal for an alliance, particularly with Jiang Qinyan, whose capabilities were undeniable. However, since their dealings with the Jiang family commenced, the MO family had encountered a string of misfortunes. A glint of malice flickered in MODUN's eyes. Meanwhile, Jiang Feng and Huang Li lay in the hospital. Gu Yechen had struck ruthlessly, and upon seeing the news online, they contemplated the implications of the MO family's alliance. They needed to find a way to secure investments. They recalled Gu Yechen, astonished by his rapid transformation in less than a month. He was no longer the pushover they had once bullied. Gu Yechen was actively acquiring shares in the Jiang Group, having secured 15%, thereby becoming the third-largest shareholder. He was determined not to relinquish control of the company that Jiang Qinyan had poured her heart into. Gu Yechen's phone rang, revealing a call from Li Songyun, the former owner of Shuyu Xuan Hotel, which puzzled him. "Hello, Boss Li. Long time no see." Gu Yechen greeted with a smile. "Young friend Gu, the matter you raised has received approval. From now on, you are an ordinary member of the MAC organization. I'll send you an address. Let us discuss the details in person." Li Songyun provided the address, leaving Gu Yechen in a state of confusion. "System, what undisclosed matters have you arranged for me?" Gu Yechen communicated with the system. "This was merely an inquiry made under your identity, and it seems he still remembers. The MAC organization is a special entity formed to counter certain powerful families in Modu and Kyoto. It is highly suitable for your development." The system's voice resonated. Though hesitant, Gu Yechen resolved to investigate further, recognizing the merit in expanding his influence. He set out in a company vehicle, a Mercedes-Benz G-Class. As he followed Li Songyun's directions, Gu Yechen caught a glimpse of 3 vehicles tailing him in the rearview mirror. After a moment's contemplation, he pressed the accelerator. The pursuing vehicles accelerated in response, closing in on him before ramming into his car. Thankfully, he was driving a sturdy Mercedes. Had he been in a Bugatti Chiron, they would have never kept pace. Gu Yechen dialed Li Songyun, explaining his predicament and that he would be delayed due to the pursuit, then focused on the road. "What is happening?" Li Songyun's companions exchanged worried glances upon receiving the call. "Mr. Gu seems to be in trouble. He mentioned being followed by 3 cars. And I heard the sound of impact during the call," Li Songyun informed them. "Send someone to ensure Mr. Gu's safety, and deal with those pests. How dare they target a member of the MAC?" Another individual commanded. Chapter 84. Gu Yechen sustained severe injuries. Gu Yechen gazed into the rearview mirror as 3 vehicles relentlessly collided with his car. The remote location meant there were few bystanders. Suddenly, one of the pursuing cars maneuvered ahead, effectively blocking Gu Yechen's escape. With a determined press of the accelerator, he charged forward, only to be thwarted by yet another vehicle that obstructed his path. Surrounded and confined, the distance separating the 2 factions was a mere 10 meters. Surveying the grim tableau, Gu Yechen noted that the 3 cars housed a total of 10 individuals, all wielding machetes and exhibiting an expressionless demeanor, as if they were born for such violent encounters. Soon after, a small cargo truck arrived, disembarking more than 20 additional assailants, each brandishing their own blades. The situation appeared dire. He still had wealth unspent and women he wished to cherish. "I hope they fare well," he muttered to himself, stepping out of the vehicle. Gu Yechen faced the unfolding chaos, denying his fear with bravado. "Who sent you here? If I must die, let me do so with my eyes closed. Or perhaps, if he offered you a sum, I shall double it." Anxiety crept in as he realized the odds were stacked against him, 1 man against over 30 armed foes. He feared this might be his final breath of fresh air, for the dead are not meant to know. The leader of the group fixed his gaze upon Gu Yechen and commanded, "Charge. Life or death, it matters not." A throng surged forward, as only a fool would attempt to fight alone. Clenching his fists, Gu Yechen heard the system's voice echo in his mind. Major crisis detected. Forcibly enhancing host's physicality to 100 points, deducting 100 trillion from funds. Damn it, they just deducted 100 trillion in one go. With no time for contemplation, Gu Yechen found himself in a perilous predicament. Earlier, while still in the car, he had informed Provincial Secretary Wang Yun of his situation, uncertain of when assistance would arrive. A machete swung towards him, and instinctively, Gu Yechen blocked it with his left hand, twisting the assailant's wrist to seize the weapon. Now armed, he felt a surge of confidence, delivering a powerful kick that sent the attacker sprawling several meters away. The onlookers were momentarily stunned. Yet they quickly regrouped and charged at him. With a cold glint in his eye, Gu Yechen darted among the throng. Each strike was precise and forceful, incapacitating those who dared to approach. However, he could not escape injury himself. Without the system's intervention, he would have succumbed. After felling 7 or 8 adversaries, he too had sustained several wounds. One opponent, seizing the moment of distraction, lunged from the side. Gu Yechen evaded, grasped the man's wrist, and with a swift motion, fractured it before executing a throw that sent him crashing to the ground, a deep gash appearing on his back. The sight incited even greater frenzy among the remaining attackers. Yet Gu Yechen stood resolute, advancing rather than retreating. Amidst the fierce clash, he received additional cuts, leaving him somewhat unsteady. The sheer number of enemies was overwhelming, with over 20 still standing strong. Despite his enhanced endurance, the relentless assault began to wear him down. He bore at least 10 wounds, and his strength ebbed with each passing moment. Nonetheless, his fighting spirit remained unyielding as he gritted his teeth and continued to battle. Meanwhile, upon learning of Gu Yechen's dire circumstances, Wang Yin promptly dispatched nearby troops for rescue. A platoon led by Lieutenant Deng Hong was immediately mobilized, prepared to ensure Gu Yechen's safety and ready to engage if necessary. Gu Yechen, having endured numerous strikes, now knelt, propped up by his blade, teetering on the brink of unconsciousness. Gu Yechen, do you wish to know who seeks your life? For your sake, it would be remiss not to disclose this. The Mo family is behind it. Do not seek us out. We are merely mercenaries. The leader chuckled as he drew his machete, poised to deliver a fatal blow to Gu Yechen's head. At that critical juncture, a gunshot rang out, piercing the leader's skull. Gu Yechen exhaled in relief, the weight of impending doom lifting as he collapsed to the ground. With the leader's fall, the morale of the attackers shattered, scattering them in disarray. Dozens of soldiers clad in olive green swiftly apprehended the remaining foes. One soldier approached Gu Yechen, recognizing him as the target they were ordered to protect at all costs. Incredible, Lieutenant Deng Hong murmured. One man managed to take on so many. He then moved towards Gu Yechen, assessing his condition. His state is critical, reported a volunteer soldier after examining Gu Yechen. He has sustained 15 wounds and is losing blood rapidly. Administer basic first aid, then transport him to the nearest hospital at once. Deng Hong commanded, coordinating with 2 medics to accompany Gu Yechen to the hospital while the others alerted the authorities. The nearest facility was the Second People's Hospital of Shanghai City. Deng Hong relayed the situation to his superiors, and upon receiving the news, Wang Yin felt a chill run down his spine. 15 wounds. Some deep enough to expose bone. Can he survive? Secretary, contact the head of the Second People's Hospital immediately. Spare no effort in saving Yechen's life. Do whatever it takes. Wang Yun ordered, hastening to the hospital himself. The police had taken over the scene, and those dispatched by Li Songyun only witnessed Gu Yechen being transported away. Deng Hong drove the military vehicle at high speed, but suddenly encountered congested traffic. Activating the emergency siren, used only in dire situations, he commanded, clear the way, clear the way. The vehicles complied, yielding to the military's authority. Upon reaching the Second People's Hospital, the staff was prepared for Gu Yechen's arrival. Deng Hong rushed him into the emergency room. Unlocking Gu Yechen's phone, he discovered a contact labeled Sister and promptly dialed the number. At that moment, Jiang Qingyan was engaged with government officials regarding site selection and subsequent tasks, having also interacted with Fan Jingde and others. Upon seeing Gu Yechen's call, her lips curved into a smile, her spirits lifted. Hello, Xiaochun. What is the matter? Jiang Qingyan answered, her voice laced with tenderness. Chapter 85, 15 Stab Wounds. Hello. Is this Gu Yechen's sister? Deng Hong's tone was somewhat grave. In the sweltering heat, a gentle breeze carried a wave of warmth. Jiang Qingyan paused upon receiving the call and replied, Yes. May I ask who you are? Why does my brother's phone end up in your possession? There was a hint of anxiety in her voice, as she suddenly felt a fluttering unease in her chest. Hello, this is the Second Municipal Hospital. Your brother, Gu Yechen, is currently undergoing emergency treatment. We hope you can come here at once, Deng Hong stated. After his words, there was silence on the other end. Miss, are you there? I'll be there shortly. Jiang Qingyan hung up the phone and turned to leave, stumbling several times, her mind clouded with distress. Hey, Xiaoxue, something has happened to Xiaochen. Jiang Qingyan called Ning Qianxue, her voice quivering. What? Where are you? Ning Qianxue, working in her office, immediately grabbed her bag and rushed out. At the second municipal hospital. I'm driving there now. Jiang Qingyan hung up, regaining her composure as she started her vehicle towards the hospital, a journey exceeding 20 kilometers. Ning Qianxue instructed her driver to head to the same destination. What is the situation? Wang Yun, just alighting from his vehicle, inquired upon spotting Deng Hong. He was attacked by over 30 people, sustaining severe injuries. He has been stabbed 15 times, nearly to the bone. Deng Hong replied, his voice heavy with compassion. Wang Yun's expression darkened instantly. Such a grave criminal incident occurring under his jurisdiction was a blatant provocation. Deng Hong led Wang Yun briskly into the hospital, heading straight for the emergency room. A Maserati pulled up at the hospital entrance, and Ning Qianxue stepped out, racing towards the buildings, her anxiety rendering her oblivious to everything else. Moments later, Jiang Qingyan arrived as well. She parked her vehicle and dashed towards the emergency room, where she found Ning Qianxue crouched on the ground. Xiaoxue, how is Xiaochen? Jiang Qingyan asked urgently, her breathless form a testament to her frantic sprint. She couldn't bear to contemplate what she might do if Gu Yechen were to suffer harm. The mere thought that her world could crumble without him was unbearable. We still don't know. The doctor's Haven tea come out yet. Ning Qianxue looked weary, her heart aching as she felt a deep pang of dread upon hearing about Gu Yechen's condition. Deng Hong approached Jiang Qingyan, gazing at the breathtaking woman before him, whose beauty was akin to that of a celestial being, flawless in appearance, demeanor, and grace. Hello, you must be Gu Yechen's sister? After a glance at Jiang Qingyan, Deng Hong inquired. Upon hearing his familiar voice, she snapped back to reality. Thank you for saving my brother. If you ever need assistance, please let me know. I will not refuse if it is within my power. Jiang Qingyan expressed her profound gratitude to the soldier who had rescued her brother, knowing that without him, her sibling might have perished. I am merely carrying out my duty. Here is your brother's phone. I am returning it to you. Deng Hong handed Gu Yechen's phone to Jiang Qingyan, who accepted it with trembling hands, clutching it tightly. Her gaze swept the area, alighting on a notable figure, Provincial Secretary Wang Yun. It seemed that Gu Yechen's rescue must have been under the Secretary's directive. Jiang Qingyan wiped her tears and approached Wang Yun, bowing slightly in gratitude. Secretary Wang, thank you. Wang Yun gently raised Jiang Qingyan, observing the two distressed young women before him with a heavy heart. This is what I should do. Yechen is of great importance to the government, and I would not stand idly by even if he were an ordinary citizen facing such a crisis. Ding. The operating room door swung open, and Jiang Qingyan rushed forward. Doctor, how is my brother? Her eyes were red-rimmed, but she held back her tears. The patient has been stabbed 15 times, 7 in the back, 6 in the chest, and 4 in the arms. He is in critical condition, the doctor reported before swiftly turning to Wang Yun. Jiang Qingyan stumbled and fell to the ground. 15 stab wounds? How excruciating that must be. Unable to contain her sorrow any longer, her tears cascaded down. Ning Qianxue, upon hearing of Gu Yechen's grievous wounds, could scarcely believe it. Muttering, how is that possible? Xiaochen is so kind and gentle. How could this happen? Secretary Wang, there is a special circumstance that may require your assistance. An assistant doctor emerged from the operating room. Speak, Wang Yun responded, feeling a disquiet in his heart. With so many people to attend to, why did it have to fall to him? The patient has lost too much blood. We have exhausted our supply. We urgently need to call for 6 units of Rh-negative O-type blood, the doctor explained, his tone urgent. Wang Yun was taken aback, realizing the severity of the situation. He immediately called the first municipal hospital and 2 others to arrange for the blood. But he knew that it would take at least an hour for it to arrive. By then, it might be too late. Jiang Qingyan, upon hearing this, rose abruptly. I'm a donor. I'm Rh-negative O-type blood. She wiped her tears and insisted that the doctor take her to donate blood immediately. Miss, I understand your feelings, but direct relatives cannot donate blood to one another, so we cannot take you, the doctor replied helplessly. Hello. Ning Qianxue's phone rang. It was the hospital. She answered immediately, her heart racing. Miss Ning. Yes, it's me. I'm at your second municipal hospital right now. Ning Qianxue felt a surge of anxiety, hoping fervently that Gu Yechen and Jiang Qingyan were not siblings, so Jiang Qingyan would not be bound by such restrictions. Yet, she was terrified that they were indeed siblings, which would shatter Jiang Qingyan's last glimmer of hope. Miss Ning, based on the information you provided, we conducted 5 DNA tests and concluded that the hair samples you submitted from Mr. Gu Yechen and Miss Jiang Qingyan have no relation whatsoever. The doctor on the other end assured her, sending the results to Ning Qianxue. Ning Qianxue felt a rush of exhilaration, quickly helping Jiang Qingyan to her feet and wiping her tears. Qingyan, I have some news to share with you. At that moment, Jiang Qingyan's eyes were vacant, her spirit seemingly drained, her face pale. She looked at Ning Qianxue, bewildered by her excitement. Xiaoxue, what news? Jiang Qingyan believed nothing could compare to the importance of Gu Yechen. There was nothing worse than this. Chapter 86. No blood relation between them. Ning Qianxue, filled with excitement, clutched Jiang Qingyan's shoulders. A few days ago, I had Xiaochun's hair and yours tested for genetic compatibility. The result shows that there is no blood relation between you and Xiaochun. Boom. Ning Qianshue's words struck Jiang Qingyan like a thunderclap in June, leaving her momentarily stunned. Where did you get this done? Upon hearing Ning Qianshue's revelation, the doctor hurried over. If this were true, they could proceed with a blood transfusion for the patient. Ning Qianshue pulled out her phone and displayed an image for the doctor to examine. He immediately dialed a number. Hello, Lao Zhang. Did you send a genetic compatibility report to a Miss Ning? Yes. Why? Came the surprised reply from the other end. We have a severely injured patient in the operating room who requires Rh-negative red blood cells. Can you confirm that the two tested have no relation? Absolutely. This result was confirmed by me and our director after thorough testing. There is no mistake, the voice on the phone stated without hesitation. The doctor hung up and turned to Jiang Qingyan. Miss Jiang, Mr. Gu needs your assistance right now. I am in perfect health. Here is my medical examination report. Jiang Qingyan presented a document from her phone. The doctor glanced at it and promptly took her to have blood drawn. Ning Qianshue followed closely behind. Where's the blood? Wang Yun exclaimed impatiently. How much blood can a frail girl like her donate? Originally, a helicopter had been dispatched, but coincidentally, all were occupied with other tasks. In the ward, the nurse drew 3 units of blood, totaling 600 cubic centimeters, which was already at the limit. Most individuals could only safely donate up to 400 cubic centimeters unless there was a dire necessity, as was the case now. The doctor swiftly sent a small vial of blood for rapid screening, a cutting-edge technology to determine blood transfusion compatibility. The results showed no issues, and the blood was immediately sent to the operating room. I'm fine. I can donate more to ensure there's enough, Jiang Qingyan insisted, her pallor resembling that of a sheet of paper. Ning Qianshue stood anxiously beside her. Xiaoyan, you can't risk your health like this, Ning Qianshue said, her voice laced with concern. She knew Jiang Qingyan was willing to sacrifice everything for Gu Yechen, yet it pained her to see her in such a state. However, the outcome was positive. They indeed had no blood relation. Jiang Qingyan turned to Ning Qianshue, a sincere smile breaking through her ashen complexion. Xiaoshue, thank you so much. I will forever remember this kindness. Her words brimmed with gratitude. For the absence of a blood relation between her and Gu Yechen signified the possibility of their relationship, a chance to be together. Even if Gu Yechen were to have other women in the future, she would not mind. Perhaps he already had several. No need to thank me. I just want you to be well. Ning Qianshue embraced Jiang Qingyan. You should rest now. I will go get you some chicken soup to nourish your body. With that, Ning Qianshue hurried off to buy the soup. Watching Ning Qianshue's departing figure, Jiang Qingyan held this gratitude close to her heart, knowing she would always be there for Ning Qianshue whenever needed. Summoning her weary body, she stood up with difficulty, intending to wait outside for Xiaochun to finish surgery. What are you doing out here? Wang Yun was astonished to see Jiang Qingyan, who had donated 3 units of blood, not resting. Secretary Wang, I'm fine. I just want to wait here for Yechen to come out of surgery, Jiang Qingyan replied. Naturally beautiful, and regarded as the foremost beauty of Star Sea. Her current fragile appearance lent her an air of haunting beauty, evoking a protective instinct in those who beheld her. Upon Ning Qianshue's return, she spotted Jiang Qingyan sitting outside and rushed over. Just then, the operating room lights finally dimmed, and the door slowly opened. Gu Yechen lay on the bed, eyes closed in stillness. Doctor, how is my brother? Jiang Qingyan asked, her pale visage filled with concern, for Gu Yechen appeared to be tightly bound in bandages. The surgery went smoothly. It looks alarming, but fortunately, his body is strong enough to withstand the pressure. The doctor sighed in relief, collapsing onto the floor. Has he finally come through? Wang Yun, who had personally escorted them, breathed a sigh of relief. He immediately turned and left for the police station. Host, congratulations on overcoming this ordeal. Reward triggered. You have obtained battery improvement technology and methods for manufacturing new energy vehicles. Thank you. Gu Yechen realized that it was the system that had kept him hanging by a thread. Otherwise, he would have long since perished and felt it was only right to express his gratitude. Here's a little secret. Your body now carries Jiang Qingyan's blood. Don't question the taboo against transfusions among close relatives, for you and Jiang Qingyan are not siblings by blood. The system's revelation sent a shiver through Gu Yechen. He could clearly see that Jiang Qingyan cared for him deeply, transcending ordinary sibling affection, possibly due to her belief in their supposed blood connection, which had restrained her from acting on her feelings. Though Gu Yechen's mind was alert, his body had yet to awaken. He sensed the atmosphere in the room. Xiaochun, even though you haven't awakened yet, I know you can hear me. When I learned that we have no blood relation, I felt an overwhelming joy. You may not realize it, but I truly cherish you, even more than I cherish myself. If you can hear me, once you awaken, would you treat me with the same affection you show Xiaoshue? Jiang Qingyan's confession took Gu Yechen entirely by surprise. Ning Qianshue's eyes widened in disbelief. The illustrious beauty of Star Sea was humbling herself, pleading for Gu Yechen to love her more. If this got out, numerous single men would surely have their hearts shattered. As long as you don't reject me, I'll take it as your acceptance. Jiang Qingyan spoke nervously, leaning in to gently press her lips against his. The cold touch of her lips met Gu Yechen's, marking her first kiss, given to the one she loved most. Gu Yechen was taken aback by Jiang Qingyan's boldness. He was unsure how to face her, as he had never given anyone a title in his life. He did not refuse her kiss. Instead, he felt a rush of excitement. After all, he was not the original, and Jiang Qingyan's beauty was undeniably extraordinary. Had he not considered forming a relationship with her after his arrival, it would have been a lie, as even Ning Qianxue paled in comparison. Ning Qianxue stood dumbfounded, not anticipating that Jiang Qingyan would grant her first kiss to Gu Yechen in such a manner. Meanwhile, Gu Yechen was already contemplating matters concerning the automotive industry. The system's rewards of battery technology and new energy vehicle manufacturing methods were vital components of his burgeoning commercial empire. Chapter 87. A conscious kiss. Gu Yechen's lips stirred slightly, seemingly in response to Jiang Qingyan. She felt a surge of joy, yet understood the boundaries. Just as she withdrew from his lips, Wang Yun entered, followed by the hospital's director and other officials. How is he? Wang Yun inquired, observing Gu Yechen, who was swathed like a mummy, with only his head appearing normal. The patient is quite robust. He has merely lost a considerable amount of blood from a severe wound. He seems worse than he is. He should recover in a few days without any damage to his bones, the director remarked, taken aback by Gu Yechen's prominence. Not expecting a young man to garner such attention from the provincial secretary, Gu Yechen felt speechless, thinking, why don't you try it? I've been stabbed 15 times. Doesn't it hurt? Secretary. Gu Yechen could no longer maintain his facade. In truth, with the system's assistance, he was nearly healed. But he still couldn't stand up directly, lest he frighten the doctors. Do not speak. Rest well. I will not let that group go unpunished, Wang Yun said earnestly. Gu Yechen was of utmost importance. There could be no further losses. He had been worried ever since he received the news, and only felt some relief now that Gu Yechen had awakened. Gu Yechen nodded gratefully, saying, Thank you, Secretary Wang. Otherwise, I might have truly met my end this time. He then turned to Deng Hong, expressing gratitude for his timely arrival, which had saved him from a dire fate. It's nothing. Everything you possess could benefit the entire nation. I would spare no expense, Deng Hong replied. You should rest well. I must take my leave, Wang Yun stated before departing, determined to uncover who dared orchestrate such a large-scale criminal act within his jurisdiction. Schwer, please see Secretary Wang off, Gu Yechen said softly to Ning Qianxue, who had been gazing at him intently. No need to see him off. Just take care of Yechen, she replied as they stepped outside. Wang Yun turned to Deng Hong. Speaking solemnly, Deng Hong, you must stay and protect him during this time. Remember, he cannot come to harm. His significance surpasses even ours. Deng Hong was taken aback by the gravity of Wang Yun's statement. Yes, I will ensure the task is completed, he affirmed, saluting Wang Yun before settling outside the ward. Inside the ward, Gu Yechen looked at Jiang Qingyan, who sat closest to him, both of them exchanging glances. The atmosphere was charged with unspoken emotions. Ning Qianxue, unable to bear the tension, thought, the emperor is not anxious, but the eunuchs are. Xiao Yin, thank you, Gu Yechen said, addressing her without the usual formality of sister. For at this moment, they were merely two individuals unbound by blood. Ning Qianxue's heart leaped with joy at this change. Could it signify Gu Yechen taking the first step? Would her friend finally succeed? Jiang Qingyan felt a stirring in her heart upon hearing Gu Yechen's altered address, realizing it represented a fundamental shift in their relationship. She felt both happiness and fear, fearing that this newfound connection might be fleeting. Ning Qianxue, sensing the moment, quietly exited to procure some congee for them. As the chicken soup she had previously bought had gone cold, with Ning Qianxue gone, the room held only Gu Yechen and Jiang Qingyan. He gazed at her, filled with gratitude. Although the system ensured his survival, her selfless act of donating 600 cc of blood moved him deeply. He reached out, taking her hand gently. Jiang Qingyan was momentarily taken aback, but then a smile graced her lips, the pallor of her illness only enhancing her beauty. Gu Yechen pressed her small hand against his lips softly. This gesture reassured Jiang Qingyan, solidifying their bond. Xiao Yin, there are many things I wish to convey. Gu Yechen began, but was immediately silenced by Jiang Qingyan covering his mouth. No need to say it. I already know. I do not mind. I only care for you. Oh my goodness. What have I just witnessed? Ning Qianxue thought upon her return with food, finding the two enveloped in a tender moment, instantly becoming their biggest fan. Jiang Qingyan leaned in, kissing Gu Yechen while he was awake. Outside the door, Ning Qianxue, witnessing this, thought, I did not see anything. Yet her eyes discreetly observed their lips meeting, with Gu Yechen responding to Jiang Qingyan's affection, marking a significant breakthrough in their relationship. Jiang Qingyan reluctantly pulled away, feeling a bit dizzy from the blood donation. Noticing her discomfort, Ning Qianxue rushed in, helping her sit down. Why are you in such a hurry? It's only a moment, she chided gently. Xiao Shui. Thank you, Jiang Qingyan replied earnestly, causing Ning Qianxue to pause in surprise. You've already thanked me several times. She teased, playfully tapping Jiang Qingyan's nose. Now let us have some kanji. Ning Qianxue brought out the kanji, feeding Jiang Qingyan while leaving Gu Yechen to lie on the bed, amused. Jiang Qingyan couldn't help but laugh, her smile radiating beauty that outshone even the flowers. At the Han residence, Wang Yun sat on the sofa opposite Han Wangfei and others, recounting the events concerning Gu Yechen. Old Master Fan, do you think this incident was directly targeting what Yechen possesses? Wang Yun asked, having visited the police station, where no amount of interrogation yielded any information. Qin Feng's attempts to handle the matter were equally fruitless, lacking any evidence. It seems unlikely. Only a few of us are aware of this. Unless there's been a leak from above, which is even less probable. I suspect someone wants Gu Yechen dead. Something must have transpired between them that we are unaware of. Fan Jingde contemplated. Secretary Wang, you must assign someone to protect him, he advised earnestly. I have temporarily stationed Deng Hong with him. I doubt he would accept anyone I assigned. He is quite free-spirited and would not allow government personnel to accompany him. Moreover, his strength is commendable. He faced 30 adversaries and endured 15 stab wounds without serious harm. So there is little cause for concern, Wang Yun replied, shaking his head in resignation. Gu Yechen's unpredictable nature made it best not to keep a watchful eye on him. Who was injured? Who was stabbed 15 times? Han Chuxia entered just as the conversation reached that point. We're discussing an incident at the border. A soldier was wounded. Han Wangfei responded calmly, glancing around nervously. Careful not to disclose the near-fatal encounter Gu Yechen had endured. Grandfather, your eyes dart when you lie, Han Chuxia remarked, a sense of dread filling her heart. Is Yechen in trouble? Which hospital is he in? Chapter 88. A calm battlefield, do not be agitated. Yechen is out of danger and there is nothing to worry about, Han Jin reassured Han Chuxia, who was anxiously searching for answers. He found himself at a loss for words, realizing that his little darling was suddenly no longer his alone. Dad, he was stabbed 15 times. How much pain must he be in? Which hospital is he in? Han Chuxia's eyes brimmed with tears. The Second People's Hospital, Wang Yun sighed. Observing Han Chuxia's distress, Han Chuxia bowed to Wang Yun and immediately drove off. This was the first boy she had ever liked. Zhang Yun received the news about Gu Yechen as well. Upon arriving at the hospital, she chose not to enter, instead sitting quietly on a bench in the corridor, offering silent companionship to Gu Yechen. Sister, how is the site selection going? Any results? Gu Yechen inquired of Jiang Qingyan, who seemed to be quite invested in the matter. Jiang Qingyan smiled gently, stroking Gu Yechen's head. Do not worry. The site has been chosen in Baoshan district and construction is already underway. However, it may not be easy to fully develop it. Secretary Wang has issued directives for all construction teams to commence work. Baoshan district, the economic heart of Shanghai City, ranks first in the city's economy, with Furong district following closely as the second, being the central urban area. Initially, they had considered other locations, but ultimately settled on Baoshan, as the project was far from an ordinary company or factory. From outside, Zhang Yun noticed a strikingly beautiful woman nervously approaching Gu Yechen's hospital room. Seeing this, she smiled, thinking how impressive Gu Yechen was to attract such attention. Gu Yechen, how are you? Han Chuxiao exclaimed as she rushed into the room. Jiang Qingyan and Ning Qianxue turned to look at Han Chuxia, then glanced at Gu Yechen, seemingly questioning. Who is this girl? I'm fine. Please have a seat. Allow me to introduce you. This is Jiang Qingyan, and this is Ning Qianxue, Gu Yechen replied, internally cursing the situation, realizing he was in quite the predicament. This is Han Chuxia, the granddaughter of old master Han Wangfei, he added, introducing her to Jiang Qingyan and Ning Qianxue. Young man, you've even caught the eye of old Han's granddaughter? Jiang Qingyan remarked, genuinely surprised. She had not expected this, considering the Han family was one of the 5 prominent families in Shanghai City, ranking 3rd. Hello, 2 elder sisters. I am Han Chuxia. Han Chuxia's cheeks flushed crimson, caught off guard by the presence of others in the room, feeling utterly embarrassed that several people now knew the eldest daughter of the Han family was sharing a boy. Hello. Ning Qianxue smiled, admiring Han Chuxia's beauty. Little Chun has quite the discerning eye. Han Chuxia's embarrassment deepened with each compliment. How are you? I heard you were stabbed multiple times. You scare me to death. Han Chuxia's eyes welled with tears as she spoke. Upon hearing the news, she felt as though she had been struck by lightning. However, seeing Gu Yechen smiling reassured her that he was likely not in grave danger. I'm fine. I should be discharged in a couple of days. I feel as lively as ever. I could easily engage in a battle of 300 rounds, Gu Yechen declared proudly, causing Han Chuxia to blush even more before she hastily exited. I'm glad you're okay. I have to go now, she stammered, grabbing her bag and fleeing the room. Gu Yechen chuckled at the scene, finding Han Chuxia endearingly cute. As he looked through the transparent glass of the hospital door, he spotted Zhang Yun. She met his gaze, nodded, and then left, seemingly not wanting to add to his troubles, which he appreciated. In the office of the CEO of the MO Group, Imo Han was momentarily stunned upon hearing the news of Gu Yechen's assassination attempt. He had contemplated eliminating Gu Yechen as well, but certainly not in such a conspicuous manner. Who would dare act so recklessly, risking retaliation? Imo Han shook his head, perplexed by the foolishness of the perpetrator. Such a grand attempt at assassination would only make Gu Yechen more vigilant, complicating future endeavors. Meanwhile, on the sofa in the Mo residence, Mo Dun yawned. Who was cursing me? Damn it. He shook his head in frustration, realizing that there had been no updates on the assassination. The Darkblade gang was becoming increasingly inept. Unable to handle such a simple task, the Darkblade gang was an underground faction in Shanghai City, rivaling the Flying Dragon gang with its hundreds of members. Their leader, Zhao Xian, was a 6th-tier initial-stage warrior, known for his cunning and ruthlessness. He would undertake any task for the right price, operating discreetly and ensuring that members' identities remained concealed, adhering to strict discipline. Warriors were classified from 1st to 13th tier, each tier divided into initial, intermediate, and advanced stages. Currently, Gu Yechen had yet to engage with such fighters, possessing strength roughly equivalent to that of a 4th-tier initial warrior, but his abilities would only improve with time. Hello, Mr. Mo. The assassination attempt failed. Gu Yechen was rescued at the last moment. Zhao Xian reported calmly over the phone, though a simmering anger brewed within him. They had dispatched 35 individuals, including several 1st-tier warriors, 3 2nd-tier warriors, and 1 3rd-tier warrior, yet only 1 returned. The others were either killed or captured. What? You send dozens of people to kill an ordinary person, and he manages to escape? What are you all doing? Mo Dun exploded with rage. Zhao Xian narrowed his eyes. Ordinary? What did you just say? Do you wish us to attempt an assassination on the Mo family instead? Mo Dun realized the gravity of the situation. The Darkblade gang was formidable. I was merely speaking in anger. The payment will be sent immediately. It seemed they would have to rely on their own resources. The Mo family possessed a 5th-tier intermediate expert, who typically refrained from action to avoid exposure. However, the situation warranted immediate action. 3 days later, Gu Yechen was discharged from the hospital, as this minor injury was nothing more than a trifle to him. Ding ding ding. Ning Qinxue and Jiang Qingyan arrived with flowers to welcome Gu Yechen out of the hospital, dressed simply in ordinary t-shirts and loose pants, exuding a youthful and carefree aura. As Gu Yechen accepted the flowers, he pressed a kiss on Ning Qinxue's cheek, then turned to place a kiss on Jiang Qingyan's lips. As they had already shared such experiences before, Ning Qinxue frowned slightly, feeling a twinge of jealousy. Why is it that you can kiss little Yin like that? While I only received a light peck. Let us go, my 2 princesses. Gu Yechen cheerfully took both of their hands and led them outside. Passers-by watched with envy, feeling that even a mere hospital visit had turned into a moment of dog food. No need for a doctor's visit when one could simply enjoy such sweetness. Ning Qinxue drove her Maserati, with Jiang Qingyan in the passenger seat and Gu Yechen in the back. As the engine roared to life, Gu Yechen suddenly sensed an ominous danger, though the feeling was fleeting. Chapter 89, Pregnancy? Boyfriend? Get lost. As Gu Yechen's vehicle departed, a figure clad entirely in black materialized at the scene. His mask and hat obscured his features, rendering him unrecognizable, yet he gazed pensively at the retreating car. Behind him stood Deng Hong, hands shoved into his pockets, his expression dark as he observed the unfolding drama. He hadn't anticipated that the adversaries would be so relentless. It appeared that Gu Yechen had provoked someone he ought not to have angered. With the enemy lurking in the shadows and himself in the light, defense proved arduous. Upon returning to Ning Qinshue's home, the clock struck 2:30 in the afternoon. Swear, I am famished. Gu Yechen had effectively claimed Ning Qinshue's residence as his own. After all, she was already his. Ning Qinsue shot him an exasperated glare. Once, Gu Yechen had been a well-behaved student, but when had he transformed? It seemed to coincide with the incident involving red paint splattered on his desk. Now, he didn't even refer to her as teacher anymore. With hands on her hips and a pout of dissatisfaction, Ning Qinsue watched as Gu Yechen hurried over. Teacher, be good, he exclaimed before planting a kiss on her lips. Ning Qinsue, momentarily taken aback, reciprocated but promptly kicked him away. Nearby, Jiang Qingyan observed their playful banter with a gentle smile. This was the essence of life, simple and unpretentious. Soon, a lavish spread of Chinese cuisine was prepared. Shui, I never expected your intellect to be average, yet your culinary skills are remarkable, Gu Yechen remarked, salivating at the sight of the dinner. He grasped his chopsticks and eagerly picked up a piece of beef, savoring the delightful flavor of the stir-fried dish. Ning Qinsue bristled at his comment, indignantly asserting her intelligence as a teacher. Jiang Qingyan uncorked a bottle of red wine, pouring some for Ning Qinsue. What about mine? Gu Yechen queried, noticing their glasses brimming while his own remained empty. Not that he had even seen a bottle cork. It felt as though he had vanished in their company. After their meal, Gu Yechen decided to take a stroll. Having been inactive for several days, his body felt rusty. Upon leaving Ning Qianxue's residence, he drove to Hongruwei Bank, where his car awaited. After settling the payment, a phone call interrupted his thoughts. Glancing at the screen, he saw the name Chen Rong. Who was that? Suddenly, it struck him. Wasn't she the one who had betrayed him with another? Why was she contacting him now? Gu Yechen, bewildered, answered the call to discern her intentions. Hello, Jiangnan. Chen Rong's voice trembled on the other end. Is there something you need? I'm pregnant, she replied, urgency lacing her tone. Gu Yechen nearly stumbled in disbelief. What did her pregnancy have to do with him? They had never been intimate. He could not possibly have fathered a child from afar. Miss Chen Rong, your pregnancy bears no relevance to me. Please do not suggest that the child is mine, as I have never touched you. If you seek someone to take responsibility, I am not your man, he retorted, frustrated. Could you come to the hospital to see me? Chen Rong implored, her voice tinged with desperation. Shouldn't you be reaching out to Jiang Zihao? Gu Yechen recalled, his tone steady yet unable to suppress his irritation. Oh, I forgot, he is still inside. I'm scared. Will you come keep me company? Perhaps it was the lingering influence of the original host. But Gu Yechen felt an inexplicable pull to visit her. Perhaps he wished to witness her plight firsthand. He acquired the address and drove over. The open-top car embracing the warm breeze. He contemplated how to swiftly acquire the enhancement points he desired, realizing that achieving 100 in physique was merely the beginning. Upon arriving at the hospital, he was met with a bustling crowd. His sports car entered the lot, instantly easing the congestion. Gu Yechen parked, then purchased a basket of fruit, an obligatory gesture when visiting the ill. As he exited, he overheard a group discussing his car, their admiration palpable. Is this the young man who drives the sports car? Since he had alighted directly from the vehicle, many had caught sight of him. Gu Yechen entered the hospital carrying the basket of fruit. Inside the lobby, throngs of people bustled about, some rushing in, others departing with serene expressions. The cycle of life and death was inescapable. Gu Yechen ascended the elevator, fruit in hand, and as he passed a patient room, he heard a man pleading with a doctor to save his sister. He merely glanced before moving on. Such occurrences were commonplace in hospitals. When he reached the room Chen Rong had indicated, he found her lying in bed, and 4 drip attached, her pallor alarming. He was perplexed. Surely she hadn't fallen so low? Beside her sat a close friend, someone he presumed had played a role in their tumultuous separation. As Gu Yechen entered, a doctor was busy recording her condition. He placed the fruit on the table and chose a seat. Upon seeing Gu Yechen, Chen Rong's face broke into a smile, her sickly complexion softening with a glimmer of joy. Jiangnan, I knew you still loved me, she exclaimed. Before Gu Yechen could respond, the doctor turned and chastised him. Young man, what is the matter with you? Your girlfriend is 5 weeks pregnant, and you're oblivious? Look at how frail she is. How can you call yourself a boyfriend? Given her current state, she cannot undergo surgery. We must wait for her health to improve. You need to be more considerate. Hearing the reprimand, Chen Rong quickly intervened. Doctor, it's my fault, not his. Then, turning to Gu Yechen, she added, Jiangnan, I'm so happy you came. Gu Yechen was taken aback by her sugary tone, cursing her in his mind. My name is Gu Yechen, Jiangnan is dead. Since you left me for money and jumped into Jiang Zihao's arms, we have had no relationship. I'm here merely to maintain appearances and to confirm you're still alive. I am not a good person. His gaze was devoid of emotion as he regarded Chen Rong, coldly reflecting, you, with your duplicitous nature, will eventually face retribution. And it seems that time has come. Gu Yechen continued, Doctor, your assertions do not apply to me. I am not her boyfriend. I believe I owe her nothing. I am bewildered by your sudden split and your subsequent entanglement with Jiang Zihao, yet you now want the doctor to believe I am your partner. When did you transform into this person? The original host had once envisioned a future filled with love and children, a life of modest comfort and happiness. Yet he felt no remorse for her plight. Initially, they were innocent, sharing dreams of a blissful existence, and he had always treated her with care. Despite their initial financial struggles. Apologies, young man. I mistakenly believed you were her boyfriend. The doctor chuckled, and Gu Yechen shook his head, saying, It's all right, thank you. Doctor. Chapter 90. A shattering revelation, it was nothing. Gu Yechen's gaze remained unperturbed. Upon hearing his words, Chen Rong's eyes dimmed. She understood that their chances had evaporated. Would there have been hope had she given him her innocence back then? Gu Yechen, if I had entrusted my first time to you, would our circumstances be different now? A flicker of hope danced in Chen Rong's eyes as she yearned to hear something from Gu Yechen. After all, with the advancements in modern science, if he were to affirm her inquiry, she could resort to an artificial hymen. Although it would not be the same as the natural one, it might suffice. And surely Gu Yechen would accept it, wouldn't he? Chen Rong, I have come to realize that our union was a grave mistake from the outset. You still fail to comprehend where you erred. The crux of our issues lies in your abandonment during my most arduous times. Opting instead to seek solace in the arms of Jiang Zihao, who has often tormented me, even spending that fateful night with him. Do you truly believe I would want someone like you in my life again? I can permit my partner to leave in search of true love. Yet I shall never accept her as mine again. especially one who revels in my misfortune, Gu Yechen responded, his tone calm, but laced with an icy undertone. Qinrong felt as though she had been struck by lightning after hearing his response. She had not anticipated such a cold dismissal. Her lips moved as though to speak. Yet words failed her, leaving her pallid and speechless. Her friend, Yi, was equally taken aback by the severity of Gu Yechen's words, astonished that such sentiments could emanate from him. Since Qinrong's pregnancy, she had been in a daze, reluctant to speak, fearful for her friend's well-being. Thus, she had encouraged Qinrong to reach out to Gu Yechen, never expecting such a devastating outcome. The doctors and nurses departed, their curiosity piqued by the tantalizing gossip. But duty called them to other wards. Yi turned to Gu Yechen and said, Gu Yechen, are you even a man? Look at what Xiao Rong is going through. And yet you still berate her? Can you not forgive her and embrace her once more? When the child arrives, will they not be yours as well? Gu Yechen's pupils contracted in disbelief. What sort of devilish discourse was this? Not even the original owner of this body could have borne such a notion, let alone him. How dare I become her scapegoat? If you care for her so much, why not introduce her to your father? That way, she could become your stepmother. And her child could be your brother or sister. How absurd. Gu Yechen could no longer restrain himself and erupted with expletives, the outrageous suggestion unbearable. The room fell into an immediate silence, Yi silenced by Gu Yechen's outburst. Yi-chun, I was wrong. I should not have acted as I did. Can you find it in your heart to forgive me? Qinrong broke the stillness, her eyes pleading as they sought Gu Yechen's. You have not wronged me. This was merely a minor misstep in my life, fortunate enough to be amendable. Everyone possesses the right to choose, yet you chose Jiang Zihao and forsook me. It is what it is, Gu Yechen replied nonchalantly. After all, the one who wore the green hat has long since perished. Tears welled in Qinrong's eyes as she glanced at her friend, a flame igniting within her. Initially, she had no connection with Jiang Zihao. It was through her friend's introduction that they met. Jiang Zihao had often engaged her in conversation. His flamboyant personality and handsome, carefree demeanor, coupled with his wealth, had drawn her in. He frequently showered her with gifts, ranging from thousands to even tens of thousands of dollars, fueling her growing vanity. During what was meant to be a simple gathering among dormitory friends, it had morphed into a joint party with Jiang Zihao and his companions. Qinrong had initially protested, but the sweet words of Jiang Zihao had overwhelmed her, leading to a drunken state where she was ultimately drugged, rendering her powerless to resist, despite her mind remaining clear. Her body betrayed her, and as the drug took effect, she found herself ensnared, even reaching the point of seeking his advances. When she recounted her ordeal to Gu Yechen, he remained unflinching, and she bowed her head as silent tears streamed down her cheeks. Tong Wenin had endured a similar experience. Why had she persevered? While Qinrong seemed to revel in her circumstances, even to the point of pregnancy, Gu Yechen could not condone this. Had she been like Tong Wenin, not a single Jiang Zihao would have been able to impose himself upon her. The moment she accepted Jiang Zihao's gifts marked the fracture in their relationship. You need not say more. Our current state is satisfactory. Please rest well. I shall take my leave, Gu Yechen declared, feeling suffocated in the same room with them. Qinrong, still quietly sobbing, redirected her gaze to him upon hearing his words. In his eyes, there was no trace of sympathy or compassion, leaving her feeling as though their bond had never existed. Gu Yechen turned and departed without a backward glance, drawing a definitive line under a farcical romance that would no longer concern him. In the hospital room, as she watched Gu Yechen's retreating figure, Qinrong hoped he might turn back and utter that he was still there for her, yet silence prevailed as he resolutely left, devoid of any lingering attachments. Once in the corridor, Gu Yechen inhaled deeply. Dear Xiao Jiangnan, should the opportunity arise, do not squander your life for such individuals. You have those who cherish you, and there is no need to forsake your existence for them. He murmured to himself, turning to leave, resolute in his determination not to let the original owner of this body succumb to despair. After exiting the hospital, Gu Yechen drove away. At that moment, a cry for help echoed from a nearby street. As he passed by, he halted his vehicle to investigate the source of the commotion. Not far off, a figure clad in a hat and mask snatched a bag from a woman around 35 years old. The bag likely contained funds for her medical treatment. She cried out for help, but the sparse crowd hesitated, especially with the assailant brandishing a knife. Just as Gu Yechen prepared to exit his car, another individual dashed forward. Gu Yechen stepped out, witnessing an astonishing scene. The thief was already pinned to the ground. Initially, he had intended to test his enhanced physical prowess after days of inactivity. Yet he hadn't anticipated being upstaged. He observed the assailant, a man with dark skin, approximately 30 years of age, whose resolute gaze and decisive movements revealed a mastery of combat. The thief stood no chance against him. Impressive, Gu Yechen mused inwardly. Though one man's strength is formidable, recruiting a talent of this caliber could yield remarkable results in many endeavors. This man was clearly no ordinary individual. Chapter 91. As Gu Yechen observed the man before him, it was immediately evident that he was a master, and not just an ordinary one. Gu Yechen's physique had reached 100. Yet the presence of a plus sign behind it indicated that there was still potential for improvement. Did this mean that his mental strength could also be enhanced? For an average individual, mental acuity peaks at a score of 50. If his mental strength could be augmented, it would indeed be a monumental leap. Moreover, Gu Yechen sensed that the man before him possessed an extraordinary essence, suggesting he was a seasoned practitioner, likely someone with military experience. Just then, their eyes met, and Gu Yechen felt a strange familiarity, as if he had encountered this man before. Wasn't this the same man who had desperately sought a doctor's help for his sister? The man was named Qin Lang. His sister was gravely ill with cancer, and the only hope for her survival lay in an organ transplant, a procedure that required an exorbitant sum of money, one he could not possibly afford. Qin Lang had spent years as a mercenary in the Middle East, part of a combat unit comprising 8 members, including snipers, assault troops, observers, bomb experts, and commanders. After 3 years of dangerous work, they were finally set to return home, where their families could enjoy a better life. However, a sudden lucrative job opportunity arose, and after much deliberation, the squad decided to complete this final assignment before returning home to their loved ones. Tragically, this decision would lead to the last moments they would share together. During their mission to protect the target, they were ambushed by unidentified local armed forces. Despite a fierce battle, their target was killed, and of the original 8, only 3 survived. The loss weighed heavily on them. They lamented their greed for that final job, which had resulted in irreparable damage to their team. The 3 survivors vowed to leave the mercenary life behind and return home, their earnings primarily allocated to their fallen comrades. They were fortunate to have returned alive. But 5 of their brothers in arms would forever remain in the sands of the Middle East. Upon returning home, Qin Lang discovered that both of his parents had passed away. His only sister, worn down by relentless labor, collapsed and was diagnosed with kidney cancer. Without surgery, her fate was sealed. Yet, as it was detected early, there was a significant chance of recovery, provided he could secure the necessary funds. Unfortunately, his savings had dwindled due to extensive medical expenses, and he had no one to turn to for loans, as his 2 closest friends were in similar financial straits, having also devoted most of their resources to their deceased comrades. Feeling despondent, Qin Lang left the hospital, determined to find a way to fund his sister's treatment. Shortly thereafter, he encountered a robbery in progress. Reacting instinctively, he charged at the assailant, swiftly subduing him. The thief, emaciated and frail, was no match for Qin Lang's strength, akin to a chick grasped in a firm hand. Moments later, the victim of the robbery approached Qin Lang, breathless and grateful. "Thank you so much for your help. This money is my husband's life savings. Had you not intervened, the consequences would have been dire," she exclaimed, bowing repeatedly in gratitude. "It was merely a trivial act," Qin Lang replied, waving his hand dismissively. The woman promptly dialed the police, as the thief was a known repeat offender whose whereabouts had eluded capture until now. Though the woman offered him a token of gratitude, Qin Lang declined, stating that it was her money and accepting payment for good deeds felt too pedestrian. With a casual wave, he departed. As he turned the corner, Gu Yechen blocked his path. Qin Lang furrowed his brow, instinctively clenching his fist. But as he attempted to sidestep, Gu Yechen remained in his way. "What do you want?" Qin Lang asked, feeling an overwhelming urge to retaliate, yet restrained by the need to care for his sister. "You possess remarkable skills. I wish to speak with you," Gu Yechen replied, unperturbed. Qin Lang's expression hardened as he scrutinized Gu Yechen, uncertain of his intentions, having no prior acquaintance with him. "As far as I recall, we have never crossed paths," he said coldly. "Well, we can become acquainted now. I am aware of your financial predicament concerning your sister's illness. I am willing to assist you. But I have a proposition," Gu Yechen stated matter-of-factly. Qin Lang's brow furrowed deeper, a flicker of danger evident in his gaze. "Have you been investigating me?" Gu Yechen paused, then smiled gently. "You misunderstand. I merely overheard your conversation with your sister and the doctor while passing through the hospital. It was entirely coincidental." Qin Lang remained vigilant, his instincts honed from years of perilous living alerting him to the underlying threat in Gu Yechen's demeanor. He was astonished that this young man could evoke such a sense of danger, something he rarely experienced, even in the field. "Please, go ahead," Gu Yechen encouraged, a smile gracing his lips. This time, Qin Lang did not refuse. Gu Yechen drove him to a nearby CAF, where they ordered 2 cups of coffee. "What should I call you?" Gu Yechen inquired, gazing at Qin Lang. "Qin Lang," he responded. "Brother Qin, to be frank, I recently suffered a severe beating and ended up in the hospital. It was quite traumatic, which is why I seek to hire a few bodyguards. Your sister requires funds, and I can provide them. I am acquainted with the director of the Second People's Hospital and can refer her there, where the medical facilities are vastly superior. I will cover her medical expenses until she recovers, and additionally, I will offer you a monthly salary of 100,000 for protecting my safety for 15 years. During this period, I will adjust your salary according to circumstances, only upwards, of course. What do you think?" Gu Yechen proposed, his demeanor calm and fearless. Qin Lang's piercing gaze scrutinized Gu Yechen, seeking to discern his true intentions. They locked eyes, each assessing the other. Finally, Chapter 92, A Little Skirmish. At last, after about a minute, Qin Lang gazed at Gu Yechen and said, "Fine, I will grant your request. But let us agree that I shall only be responsible for your protection. I will not interfere with anything else." Gu Yechen desired precisely this outcome. Very well. It is settled then. The two stood and shook hands, marking the beginning of a partnership that no one could impede. "Brother Qin, my surname is Gu. And I am called Gu Yechen." "Master Gu." Qin Lang pondered for a moment before replying. "Please, do not call me Brother Qin, if you don't mind. Simply call me by my name." Gu Yechen nodded in agreement. "Qin Lang, I have heard people mention the terms third tier and fourth tier. What do they signify?" Gu Yechen inquired, somewhat perplexed. Observing Qin Lang's remarkable skills, he presumed he possessed some knowledge on the subject. "Master Gu, in our